Yeah.
Give me a minute to figure that out. I never use my damn phone anymore, I swear to God, except for a camera, a second camera.
Oh, I need to. Do I need to do anything there? Am I going to? Camera audio.
Hops? No.
Might take a minute or two for stuff to actually start getting through. Just checking my YouTube thing. Okay, need to make it public. No, not that one. That's the wrong one. That was the StreamYard one. I mean, the other one. Need to kill that. Yeah, fuck. OBS is still broadcasting that stupid thing.
I'll plug that in when it's about dead. I wasn't prepared for this. None of us were. I was like, cool, I can premiere my video an hour for the show. Jeff will catch wind of it. He'll throw it in the show. It'll be a cool night, cool night. And then he's ill. Do you know if because COVID, this Omicron is ravaging Alaska right now.
Right.
And he's not necessarily out in the country.
Mm.
He's, 2 miles from town.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Get well, Jeff. Look at me. I'm actually looking like I'm looking at the video. That's awesome.
For some reason, this one's set to private. Hang on, let me.
By the way, once I learn StreamYard and OBS and that stuff, I'm going to buy the pro version so we can get all the graphics going and stuff and customization. I'm going to learn this just after you and Marshall do. y'all gonna make me learn. You're gonna say, Tim, you gonna learn. Don't know if you watched the Dallas Cowboy playoff game today, but it was an embarrassment.
Okay, I don't generally watch American football, I'm afraid.
But the Cowboys are God's team, so surely God likes Australia.
Oh yeah.
The reason why they put a hole in the Texas stadium, the roof had a big hole in it in the original Texas stadium, is so that God could watch his favorite team. That's what the architect said in the 70s. It was great.
Jesus.
But at that point, we were a dynasty, so we could actually get away with saying that. We haven't done shit since '95, so.
Okay, so we're live. Okay, I can see.
There it is, live, 4 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm going to go check my phone, see if we are indeed live. Hello, all, if you're watching us fuck around with this, mess around with this. Oh, we
set
don't have
up as
hippies rules, so we can actually
we're
say what we
not
want.
for kids. Yeah, so yeah.
There it is. Hey, we've got 2 people in the live chat. Oh wait, that's you and
That's
I.
us. Yeah.
Let me invite some people. Now that I've got a link, let me invite some people to the chat.
Yeah, I just stuck it in the
Share.
collective page. So yeah.
I'm gonna send this out to Facebook to my 1,000 people. Not that it translates ever to.
It was
I mean,
cool to see. Cool
I've
to
got
see a
songs
few
on
of the crew.
Facebook that have like 2,000 views, and on my YouTube channel they've got 145.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
It was actually cool to see a few of the crew come into the premiere today.
That really, thank you guys for showing up. That really touched me. Just appreciate,
But
and the
seeing
new people too.
Gary in there, and your buddy Gary.
Yeah, Gary Alexander. It's so funny.
Mm.
He's not feeling well, and was watching playoff football, American football, and went to his
Mm-hmm.
computer just so he could stare at something different. And he said it right when he sat down at the computer, it popped up and said, "Tim is going live. Tim has a premiere in 30 seconds or a minute." Clicked
Mm-hmm.
on it, and boom, there it was. It was just kismet.
That was cool. Charlie Gabaldon. Oh, okay. Hey, Charlie. New subscriber. Thanks for coming in, mate. We're basically just messing around with this stuff, trying to work out how to use it. So we'll see where it takes us.
I can't spell. I can, but I'm not going to tell you, even if what it just corrected my language to. It was so obscene.
Yeah, I hope you have patience with us, Charlie. We're still working this stuff out, mate. So, yeah.
Oh, the screen capture has me smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
Because it updates live.
Yeah.
Late, but live. So hello. I got to go to the channel. Shelly. Hello, Shelly. And this is for Gary Alexander. Hello, Kevin. In the 80s, we had a drum machine instead of a drummer because you could do that in the 80s. And we named him Kevin. And we put a piece of tape on there that said Kevin. Why Kevin? I don't know. So our drum machine name was Kevin. I apologize to all you drummers named Kevin.
Let me try just, I want to share that porcelain track and just see what it comes through from here.
If it's mono, I would love to hear what it sounds like in mono, so go for it.
Yeah. See how we go.
Hey, Charlie. Why is it doing a countdown?
I love the way I think it's because I hadn't logged out of that window.
Oh, you clicked on the premiere, yeah.
I just rewound it. Yeah.
Do you like the new countdown?
Yeah.
It's
was funny when
built into the YouTube system. You just have to change it. They've got like 25 different scenes.
When I did that crazy a cappella thing, someone thought the 2-minute countdown that I put on it was part of the track.
Yeah. And if we do get some people from the hippie community, I'd love to tell them about that new opening graphic and video clip of the Texas Jackdaw. I paid $9.95 for it, and it was the best money I ever spent.
Okay, I see PJ just joined us, but let's listen to this for a minute.
Yeah, it's mono, but that's cool. It's not very loud though. Can you turn it up?
Mm-hmm.
It's not very loud. There you go.
Leave the light on the way outside. You can keep your house keys, cause the lights are gonna change tonight.
Okay,
Do you
caught up.
feel me? Fragile, I'm already there. Broken, scattered to the sun, I'm already there. Living like porcelain, just like porcelain, just like porcelain.
Hey, Sid.
Porcelain. Change is coming, like it always. You can lean into it, but your effort is gonna be lost. Do you feel me? Fragile, I'm already there. Broken, scattered to the sun, I'm already there. Making like porcelain, just like porcelain, just like porcelain, porcelain.
I think we have to mute ourselves, Mark.
When it falls apart, it falls in slow motion. Do you feel me? Weak, fragile, I'm already there. Broken, scattered to the sun, I'm already there. Living like porcelain, like porcelain. Making like porcelain, just like porcelain. Porcelain.
Yeah, I
That's
could hear
great.
you. I could hear you,
Okay, yeah, yep.
and the audio sounded like it was coming from your microphone, not direct. So it's weird.
Okay, yeah, just need to make sure I mute.
Yeah,
That's the
I
main
don't know,
thing, I
but
think.
well, thanks everybody for being there for that. That was very cool of you. Hey, Bobby Lopez.
Hey, Bobby.
Lopes. Bobby, thanks for being there, and thanks for being here. I can't see the comments on screen, so I've got my iPhone
Yeah.
with a muted live stream so I can watch.
Well, so far we got Bobby, PJ, and Sith in the house.
Hey, we got
And
8 people in
Charlie, if he's still here. Yeah, say hi, people, if you're here, so we can see who's there around.
Well, the Falcro should be here because it was his idea.
Hmm.
Although we're
I
not going to be
noticed.
streaming music, but we
Yeah.
thought we would do a hippie
Uh,
hang without the
we can.
hippie because he's not feeling well.
Hmm. Yeah. Best wishes, Jeff, and hope you feel better soon, mate.
Yeah. I'd say break a leg, but you only have one. So,
I've already said that by mistake once. Yes.
did you? Oh,
Went down well.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he laughed at that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I've got to take my Christmas tree down soon, I think. Sitting there in the
We
background.
didn't put one up this year,
Yeah.
and we put one up in 2020. And was it 2020? No, in 2019 we put the Christmas tree up, and then usually we'll take it down. But COVID had hit, right in January,
Yep.
and so my wife and I made a pact that we would keep our Christmas tree up, our Christmas decorations and Christmas lights in the house, not outside.
Hmm.
We would keep it up until we got a vaccination, and so it stayed up until she got her second one. So we had a Christmas tree up until March 2nd of last year.
Can't remember who it was. I think it was
So
Tiny Dragon or someone was talking about still having their stuff in their yard at Halloween or whatever, and just turn them into Halloween decorations.
yeah,
Because by that time they were looking pretty ragged anyway. So yeah.
perfect for Halloween.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than a moldy old Santa.
Yeah. Hey, Preston and Sam.
Hey, Preston. By the way, Jeff, Jeff. I'm thinking about Jeff. Mark, we would love to get other people other than
Yeah.
Mark and I on the stream. So,
Anyone?
do you want to just post it and in the
Yeah, I'll
chat?
stick it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Preston, comb your beard and get your mic on and join us. Natalia, please join us live if you can, if you have the ability to.
Yeah, I'll stick it in the chat for a minute. I won't leave it there because we know what happens when it stays
Right.
there. But
yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate it. Older song that's had a lot of use. I was trying to reply in the live stream of the premiere. Jack Flash said he likes new old songs. I wrote the song around 2009 as a demo. Ended up putting the demo on my first solo record in 2015. But because it was a demo, it was a drum machine. So then I had real drums recorded when I signed with my publisher in 2020. So I remixed it with the new drums, sold it to my publisher, and then realized after Mark said, "Hey, buddy, you might want to put up some new content." So I was like, well, that gives me a chance to remix it again because I did it in haste in 2020. So I remixed it again, threw it up as a cinematic video. So it's been presented in multiple ways, but I appreciate it. I have no idea if it's a good song or not. It's just it was fun to put together.
No, it's a great song. The chorus in it is a real hook, mate. It's very good.
I would love to tell the whole story, but this is actually a live stream of whatever. It was not a romantic song. It was not a divorce song or girlfriend song. It was basically I'm going to give it away if that person watches this, but we all know he ain't watching me anymore. I mean, it was written for a bandmate,
Yeah.
And of course, changing the locks and stuff. I realized after I got through the song, it sounded really angry, and so I tried to make it as ambiguous so people could interpret it how they want to. But it was actually written about a bandmate where I was just kind of a floor mat for a long time, and I just said, I'm weak. you know, fragile. I'm already there, you know, broken, scattered to the sun. I'm already there, but I'm baking like porcelain. When you bake porcelain, it becomes stronger. So that was the goal, is in the outro, to have that woman in the far left just looking pissed off, and you know, so
getting bots already.
yeah, holy crap. Yeah,
made it. Making the big time, mate.
Yeah, delete and block.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, you are a superstar. I was hoping that was Sith dropping in. She says she's gonna try, but she might drop off. Hey, Brody. Brody's Jam Cave just showed in. He says hello, Narc, or hey, Narc. He's got thumbs like I do. We're not professional live streamers like Metalhead Hippie is, so forgive us as we.
Yeah.
I say we because I collectively claim, you know, some of Mark's intelligence. Mark's the guy that figured this out. I'm just a guy with a studio and an iPad.
And hey, Mike, I'll tell you what, we'll play that track from Bobby that I did. Just for something fun.
So we'll mute.
Just remember to mute, yeah.
Yep.
Clock keeps ticking over, another day goes by. I sit here contemplating with all the goddamn life. Day by day I'm watching the minutes tick away. I'm stuck here doing nothing. Am I wasting my time? Wasting my time. Wasting my time. I'm sitting going nowhere, just wasting my time. I keep on getting older, I got no time to waste. Time caught in my head now, what a fucking waste. Get back on the feet now, I'm following my fate. Oh, just up to me now, not let it go to waste. Wasting my time, wasting my time. Having one-way conversations, am I wasting my time? Wasting my time, wasting my time. Wasting my time, wasting my time. I'm sitting going nowhere. She's wasting my time. 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 It's all just up to me now. Am I wasting my time? Wasting my time. Wasting my time.
That was fun. Hey, Seth, how you going?
That was Bobby Lopes?
Yeah, that was Bobby.
Dude, what a pocket. Jesus Christ. I want to jam with that guy. Natalia, how are you doing?
Frozen.
Besides being frozen in San Diego.
There she is. Yeah.
Hey, Natalia.
Hi. My internet's pretty unstable, so I keep dropping in and out.
We all deal with it, sweetie. Yeah.
Is this your first on-screen hippie hang, which is not really officially a hippie hang? Is this your on-screen hang, or did I miss one?
Awesome, man.
Am I on? Oh, yeah. Sith, Natalia, is this your first time on camera with the hippie community? Chatting?
No. Hi.
I must have missed one. So hello, my friend who makes my Facebook awesome. Love your posts.
Thanks.
Hey, Justin.
No, I think I've been on the hang a couple times.
Yeah, once or twice. No, you've been there.
You're 2 hours ahead of me, or behind me, so I might have tapped out by then. So great to hear you talk. I love to hear you play, but great to hear you talk.
Dang. Sorry, I was on a loop here and I couldn't understand what was going on. I think I got it under control now.
Yeah, you got YouTube muted.
Yeah, I mean, I just muted it right now.
Yeah, I could just hear it in the background there. Yeah. Gets kind of hard to speak when you're getting yourself back like 5 seconds later.
Yeah, that also, I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit of a lag.
Hey, Doc.
Who's there?
I was texting, but why? I've got a microphone. Doc, join us, man.
Yeah. We should.
And Preston, join us. Anybody that, Rhodey, if you guys have the ability to do it, how many can we get? 6, 7, 8 people?
Let's do the Hollywood Square thing.
Not sure how many we can get on at a time here, but
I'd like to solve the puzzle. It's called Venus enlargement. We don't have to abide by hippies rules. I said Venus as the planet.
Yes, we know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. It sounds like something else, but I heard what you said.
Yeah. What was the track?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I was homeschooled.
No, I speak you, sorry. So I didn't know I speak you.
Who released that track the other day? I Want to Kiss You on Venus.
Really?
Yeah, it was,
cool.
but it continued. I think it might have been Kev Hart or something.
I love Kev.
No, it was someone else.
That guy just.
I want to kiss you on Venus and fuck you on Mars or something.
Now I have to hear the song. Have you guys heard?
That's the name of my new album. I swear to God.
It's this
Yeah,
new band
Bobby, that was
called
fantastic, man. What a great drummer. I mean,
Mm,
talk about
yeah,
pocket.
Bobby. Yeah, Bobby.
mm.
Awesome.
That was
Awesome.
fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. We
What were
have
you
some
saying,
decent
Sis?
drummers on the community.
Sorry.
There's
Mm.
this band called I forgot the name right now. Wet Leg. The name itself, Wet Leg, and they're playing a song of theirs called Chase Lounge. It's just too funny, like all full of like double entendres and
Mm,
you know.
you can imagine.
Yeah. It says one of the lines is I went to college to get a degree, so I went to college to get the big D. It's just and it just goes on from there. It's like and all of their songs are kind of like that. They're fun to listen to.
Awesome.
Uh,
Hey, Ian's Guitar Shack, man. How's it going?
Hi
yeah.
again. Hi Preston. Hi PJ. Rody. Who else is here? Um,
Yeah, so I'm not too sure on whether that butterfly track's ever going to see the light of day, Sis.
That's fine. Like I said, I mean, you saw how long it took me to do that. It wasn't even like well recorded or anything. I was just trying to get it kind of to pick on you and to give you a bit of a laugh. But
Yeah. Well, you succeeded in that, but now I'm just going to have to
yeah,
say
no.
hippie or something. But yeah, it's like,
Maybe we can get somebody else to do it.
yeah.
He didn't say that you had to be in it. He said that
Mm,
so
yeah. We
he
get
just asked
Wi-Fi
you
or
for it.
someone
So
to do the rap in it. Yeah.
I'd like to say that
yeah.
this is all Richard's idea, the
Mhm.
Falcro. I did a premiere of a video at a few hours ago, and he's like,
Let me message him.
"Yeah, we got to get him on because it was his idea. His idea was for me
Yeah.
and Martin to come on, do a live stream, and just play our shit, our music.
Well, he didn't.
But nah, we just
What? Yeah. What he wanted is for you guys to hang out. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
nah, no.
He's
But
like, you guys should hang out.
no, he's got a live stream. He's learning OBS. He'll
Oh,
get
right
there.
Just
It's
on.
all good.
I just sent him a link.
He's
I got
setting up.
OBS down. I've got StreamYard. I just haven't put them two together.
Oh,
Uh,
I don't know any of that.
I think I'm going to start streaming some of my mix sessions, which will be
Oh,
boring
right
as
on. No,
F
I'm
for
super
everybody that
interested in
doesn't
all of that.
record.
I'm super interested in all of that.
And I'm totally ripping off not Jack Flash, Magic Jones, who has a second channel that does subscribe to Magic Jones and then find his second channel where
Mhm.
he's got cameras out while he's literally tracking all the instruments
Mhm.
of a song live stream. It's brilliant. But yeah, I want to mess around with that so I can read all the comments about what I'm doing wrong after 40 years. Yeah, I can learn something new. Of course I
I,
can.
Yeah,
I
everybody.
actually sent you a link, Doc, if you whether you got your green screen or not. So, yeah. And I sent Falcro a link as well. And Justin, if you want to join in, go for it.
Yeah, and PJ and Rhodey. I mean, you guys, you're not
Yeah.
rookies at this stuff. Come on in.
If anyone wants the link, sorry,
We're just taking time
helicopter.
underneath an Australian flying vehicle.
For a
Uh,
second, I thought it was me. I
Yeah.
live like
no,
parallel to the airport.
I do too. I live literally
I
a
don't.
mile from DFW airport.
Yeah, I live about a mile
So
from Brownfield Airport
yeah.
in San Diego.
In fact, when the winds change and the planes go through the different, they take off through the different, you know,
Yeah, Santana, the Santana
things.
direction.
They spray our house with jet fuel, and I have to
Oh,
wash my car, and I've got to, all our windows are just filled with jet poop.
we're not directly underneath the path, but parallel to it. So I see
Right.
them on this
Right.
side.
And we're not directly underneath it unless the winds are in a certain direction. Then they use an alternate, which
Yeah.
only happens,
January, February. The
well,
Centeno.
it's a couple days a month, depending on the wind direction.
Okay.
Too often, I could wash a car, and it just that stuff just sticks to everything, and it peels paint. It destroys the
Oh
acrylic
yeah.
on your cars and everything. But
I don't know if I
Yeah.
got used to it by now. I don't hear it that much until like other people point it out.
you don't hear
Yeah.
it until it's gone. Then you miss it. It's like
True.
living next to a train track. I lived next to a train track, and I saw the reports of people saying, we got to do something. We got to reroute the train. Like they're going to reroute a train, right?
Yeah.
But complaints are there, and ultimately, when I lived at that house, there was a tornado or something and damaged the track, and they did actually reroute the train. And I realized my nights were so quiet, it freaked me out. So,
If it's too quiet, my tinnitus kicks in too much and drives me insane.
yeah. Oh yeah. Let's not talk about it. Marshall, is Marshall here? I saw someone say, "Hey, Marshall."
Yeah,
yeah.
Marshall's
Hi,
in
Marshall.
the chat. I sent him a link as well. So,
Yeah, Marshall, get your ass in here, motherfucker.
Yeah, Marshall.
That was Pokemon speak for it.
Don't be
My
shy.
a dear friend
Don't
from
be
Oregon.
Everyone away the sun's
Pecco is getting very dangerous broadcasting. Yes, he is. Love that guy. I love this community.
It's a great
You all
community.
are just so cool.
I love how dangerously encouraging everybody is.
Yeah. Hey, it only took a 100-year pandemic to make it happen.
Right.
Sith, what are you doing?
How
Did I
things have
understand
changed.
correct
I've been thinking.
that Natalia, you're not with that other band? You're with a new band? What did I hear? What did I misinterpret? Do you have a new band that you're working with?
Oh, so Cousin Bob. Okay, so Cousin Bob is on long-term hiatus. There's some life stuff going on with the drummer, and our singer lives in Washington, so we could only get together once every 3 weeks. And if
That's commitment.
yeah, I know. And if he,
And you're based in San Diego, right?
yeah, in San Diego.
Diego?
Well,
yeah, just a short drive. Yeah.
I'm in Tijuana,
Outside.
but yeah, it's San Diego,
Yeah.
Tijuana, same thing.
Yeah.
Almost. And
Right.
yeah, so the singer, as it was, he was only coming down every 3 weeks. It's a work thing. He still has to commute, but sometimes they send him overseas, and so we won't see him for months. And the same thing with the drummer. We're all contractors, so sometimes we get sent over, like outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that Cousin Bob right now is on hiatus, and then I joined like a hardcore punk band.
Right.
I know.
No, I didn't mean to snort. I was like, yes. I love that.
And then
Totally
that was
snorted,
fun,
sorry.
but it was just fun. And they're booking gigs. They're not trying to practice. And I know it's part of being punk, but I'm a little too retentive to be that punk. So I was like, I don't want to play live like this. And I left. Among other things, but that was like my big driver. And I was like, I didn't want to be that sloppy.
And what was the name of the band that you shared with the hippie community? I didn't catch the name of the band.
Cousin Bob.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw my comments, but you guys reminded me of the Toadies, which are out of Fort Worth, Texas, which is one of my favorite punk bands. You remind me of them. The music is great.
I love the Toadies actually. When I was younger and I used to do like a lot of covers. A friend of mine, that it was basically just me and her. She always wanted, like, she always added a Toady song in her sets. So yeah,
Cool.
I'm kind of familiar with the Toadies. I love them.
Yeah.
I just like I was like the Toadies. I was like, oh, that's a. I was like,
Yeah.
interesting.
They
Never
never
saw.
achieved world fame,
Mm.
but they were
They're pretty
great.
big though.
Something we never got a lot of down here was
Yeah.
the American
Toadies.
punk scene. Well, just the American punk scene.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think his
was
second band had more reach than the
well, I think
Toadies.
in
It was the Burden
American
Brothers.
punk.
I'm
yeah
sorry,
overlap there.
I talked over you.
I've never heard
I'm
of.
gonna tell you.
No, it's never heard of the Burden Brothers. I've heard.
The
Well,
Burden Brothers was the band that the lead singer of the Toadies and his drummer, they moved on and did a second band after the Toadies.
gotcha.
So, and they had a big hit. So,
Oh,
Rick's just going, yes, was my favorite punk band.
the Beatles
Yes.
was my favorite punk band.
oh, dude, Yes was my favorite Rush band. Just saying. I love both.
Chicago was my
Punk,
favorite
they
Yes
are
band.
not.
Mm.
Yes. I have a hilarious story, Natalia, that I will tell you offline
Okay.
about Todd, the lead singer of the Toadies, and a fight that I got in with his bodyguards
Oh,
when I opened for him. And I've told Mark the story, and total dick, but I still love his music. But it's a great story that I will not share for legal reasons. It involved the loss of equipment and hair and a little bit of blood. And it was a great story. It's rock and roll, man.
sounds like the makings of a great story for sure.
Yeah. Just don't
Was
pick
there
a
any beer
fight.
involved?
Don't pick a fight with someone when you're 5'8" with a guy that's 6'2". That's all I'm saying.
I'm 5'2". I don't pick many fights.
And hey, Jeff, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. Just
Hi, Jeff.
hanging out. We just thought we'd fill in some time, mate.
Is he here, or are you just saying that?
No, he's in the chat. He's
Jeff. Yeah. Word about you,
mostly
brother.
looking. Yeah.
Just
Working
rest
and
up.
working.
We're just corralling the community, saying, "Hey, it's our time to gather." And it was Richard's idea, the Falcro, that we pull something together to chat, and we're doing this in your honor. And
He's not.
We're all leaning on Mark's expertise to make this happen. Thank you,
Or
Mark.
lack of. And hey, Greg O'Sullivan, here you go, man.
What were you guys up to?
That's 6'2". Well, I'm getting close to 60 years old, so I'm about 6 foot. Yeah.
Not a lot.
Still 5'2".
Yeah.
Although some argue that I'm not even 5'2", so I don't know.
But girl, you are ruthless. If some guy wants to grab your base, you will chase him down and beat his ass. I love that. That's my favorite story of COVID. That's my favorite COVID story.
There's one of the clips with Cousin Bob that you're doing that I'm just waiting for you to start banging on that ride symbol with the head of the face. Yeah.
I've done that. Like when I first started, I was pretty shy because in the end I am kind of shy. But at first I would just stand there in the corner and play. I wouldn't even look at them. But then I started building trust with them. And at some point, I don't know if a drummer has had some on and off substance issues. And so this was right before he went to rehab for a long time. And he was just messing up. And I was just crying like, Argh! So he was,
keep in time. Yeah,
I was like, this is the beat, this is the tempo. So it's
yeah.
just with the headstock beat on his cymbal. And ever since then, as soon as I get close to the drums, and he's just staring at
Uh,
me. He's like, don't mess with
Uh,
my cymbals.
yeah.
I was about to be so inappropriate by saying that, yeah, this person I know has, you know, a problem with substance. You know, I'm like, I know, and Rand, you know, I was going to go in for Atlas Shrugged. Yes, no, it is really a good writer. And sorry, that's my English lit years, 40 years ago in college. But no, I
Sorry.
know I love that it was a live stream. It was a hippie show that
God damn.
you had checked in on chat and then disappeared for like an hour, and then you came on chat saying, yeah, some guy tried to steal my bass, and you know, I got
Oh yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing that happened live stream.
Yeah.
Mm,
I was actually
Um,
I was waiting in line. It was one of those days that I think it was it was a Sunday. It had to be a Sunday. Sundays
mhm.
the borderline is really long. Sundays and Mondays. So I left my car on the American side the day before, and I was just gonna walk across, hop in my car, and go back to where I was working. And so I was waiting in line at the pedestrian line, and I was listening to the hippie show. Then once I got close to, because there's signal blockers at a certain area, so I just like went off, and then as soon as I came across, and that thing happened, and I was like so angry, so angry. I was like, oh, I need to get distracted, and so I just sat in the car and then like started just what I was like, I need to listen to some music or something. And the screen was still on. And so that's when I was like, yeah, this happened. I think I might as well share.
we could tell you were a bit cranky.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuming.
Well,
I was
I can
fuming.
tell you, and I can tell Jeff, that was my favorite moment of the 2020 COVID metalhead hippie renaissance was that night when, I mean, because Jeff was like, hang on a second, something's going on. He was real concerned.
Mm,
And then
Oh,
he was like, we got to, you know, does anybody know her number, if I remember right? And then you came back on like, oh, I got my bass. I beat his ass. I'm like, we're all like,
I don't even remember saying.
this is my favorite day of the metal hippie show. So congratulations. Great music appeared on that show, but that was my moment.
And the thing is, I'm not really
Hey,
aggressive.
Lars is here.
yeah,
Hi,
Great
Lars.
Mancini, how you going?
Oh, is he on?
No, he's in
In
chat.
the chat.
Okay. What's going
And
on?
Arvin Gaunt and John ZD 351.
Oh my god. He disappeared.
Oh yeah,
Magic tricks.
hopefully he remembers to mute his microphone. Yeah. We might
He
get more
did.
than we bargained for. Yeah. Tim and I hang out a lot, video
Oh,
chatting.
awesome.
So yeah, we share more than is suitable for general exhibition at different times.
That's cool though. It's really interesting how, I mean, I reflect on this a lot because, you know, I grew up like same as you guys with different technology.
Yeah.
And then that this is possible. Like all the younger kids are like, yeah, FaceTime, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's still like magic that, you know,
Oh, it
you
took.
get to connect and
It
communicate
is.
with people anywhere in the planet and like synchronized.
outside of working and
Yeah.
doing official work conference calls and stuff like that, it took me so long to actually just turn the camera on. It wasn't something I was comfortable doing. Yeah, but
Yeah, and like I still hate cell phones.
mhm.
I do too.
I
Yeah.
still hate cell
Mm.
phones. I remember when I had to like pagers when pagers were a thing that I
Mhm.
needed to have a pager for work. Oh, I hated that thing. I can't even remember how many of them I lost, but I hated having them. I remember I used to complain like, "Why do I have to keep this electronic leash?" And now everybody just like can't live without them.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, what do you expect people to do when they're driving their cars? Just drive around and look at shit? No, they've got to answer this Instagram challenge.
take
Uh,
photos of their food.
While
uh,
driving, yes, of course.
yeah. And hey, Mark,
While
thank you
driving, of
very
course.
much. This is not my first live stream. It may be my third, but I've learned to, mute.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yep,
I appreciate your concern, brother.
that's right.
No, but Mark and I we probably spent 500 hours in video chat last year. I
Right on.
I don't think I'm exaggerating, am I, Mark? Let's
Oh,
say
I
two
doubt
or
it.
three
I
three
mean,
times a week at three
yeah,
hours,
and
4 hours.
sometimes more. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. At some point, we're like, you know what? I gotta pee, and I don't care if the
How,
mic's on. But
how many of these hours
I
we're talking
care. I
about
care
string
now.
gauge?
I'm sorry, Natalia, I didn't hear you.
Missed it.
How many of those hours we're talking about string gauges?
Maybe
Probably
20
zero.
minutes of that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think we talked string gauges once because I told you I ordered string gauges from Amazon that came in the wrong, and it was a
Yeah,
bass
probably.
guitar.
Mm.
I thought I was ordering a set of at an amazing price for my
No.
fretless, and what showed up was a single string for $18. I was like, wait, I can buy the whole set for
Wait,
40
70.
$29. How did I get a single set for $18? And I think that was the only time we ever talked about string gauge.
We have had some long, detailed conversations about compression,
And
Mm.
EQ.
Oh, yeah.
but we won't go there tonight.
I was like, it's too complicated.
I am a compression advocate. I think that every home should own good compression and know how to use it. So
I mean, if we're talking about air conditioning, yes, compression is good.
Yeah.
yeah, no. If it's cold, I
But
like
no,
it. If it
I
doesn't
barely.
work, I call somebody.
I'm the one that gets called in. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I barely understood what.
Sorry, missed you there. You barely understood.
Ah, sorry. Marshall just sent in. Please, let's discuss multiband compression. No, Marshall, it's not. Send Marshall a link. Get Preston on here. Get Lars on here. Get anybody that's on the stream and wants to come hang with us. I
I've
don't know how
sent
many.
quite a few of them links so far.
Yeah, how many people can you have on a free account? Is it 9?
I know I can do 4 easily. I'm not sure whether we can go.
I think it's 7. I think is the max, but we got room for people.
And hey, Panda Cat.
Hello, Panda Cat. We're just doing our best to pick up the slack when Jeff's feeling low, and we all wish with our hearts that Jeff it feels better. And we're doing a rookie ass version of that hippie hang, and we're having a blast. So we will have some bad words. This is not children approved. Can't you never can trust an Australian.
Oh, thank you.
Although
they're all
it'll be the
making
Texans
jokes
that are
about
wrong.
compressors.
I'm fluent in sailor. Don't invite me because I speak fluent sailor. So
Yar, girlfriend. I had a pause because there are a string of words that happens between yar and girlfriend. So yeah.
Madness.
What did the kangaroo say to the Foster's beer, Doc? I don't know who John ZD351 is, but that's the best answer I've ever heard.
John's a buddy of mine off another stream.
Oh my God,
some other
that's
stuff.
great.
To me, John.
That's gonna be the name of my
Pen
next
cat.
record. I swear to God. Poo damn fart. Panda Cat says she will. He, she. I don't know if it's a he or she. I'm sorry. He will come in when his son falls asleep. That'd be cool.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready, man, and I'll post the link again for a little while. Can't leave it up there because there's too many freaking bots and shit floating around at the moment.
You're
Well, Mark,
inviting your bots over.
And Natalia,
Yeah.
how many, raise a hand, that you'd never had a video call until 2020? Yeah.
Well, like I said, apart from work, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, outside of work. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had video calls if that they weren't for work.
Yeah, no, I'm saying a personal one. I can say that even since 2020, like January through the whole pandemic, I think I've only had like 3 just phone calls, and 2 of the 3 were with Jack Flash. We did manage to get him on video, but 2 of the 3 were definitely still audio calls. I love how much of an enigma he is for such a talent that he is, you know.
He is very talented. I love his voice. I like his timbre. Yeah.
What a great guy.
I've not had the pleasure of like chatting more than 2-3 things, like saying 2-3 things, but I really like hearing everything he puts out.
Like, Jack's fun.
Like
we
color,
kinda
like
chat
his
with him
color
regularly.
and his timbre and the texture is pretty tasty.
Yeah, today's music misses the power of a strong Eddie's vocalist. You know?
This is the leftover card.
Doc said, dude was my roommate, so he's not really an enigma.
Well, we all can't be your roommate.
A little Benadryl,
But,
teaspoon of whiskey, kids will be asleep in no time. A nice little recipe. Stir in some ice and put some ice on that and we're good. Pineapple on the top, on the side.
You don't get it shut down.
Hey, Rick Romanelli, would you like to join us? Just let us know, and Mark will post a link and then delete it so we don't have, I don't know, porn from Yugoslavia jumping in. But yeah, we would love, Natalia, thank you so much for joining us. Love you, girl, and we want more people. We have room for people if you want to jump on. And it doesn't take a whole setup like Mark has. I'm doing it on a freaking iPad with ear pods. So come on.
Yeah, I think Preston's just sorting himself out.
Lars. I think it's from a McMurtry song. I don't know if he was that controversial, but I love it.
I lost you for a second.
I just sent you a link, Laws, as well.
Hello, Dana
Everhart.
Hey, Dana. Yeah.
3 tunes.
Yep. I may have heard a couple of those.
No, Rick thinks he might have had too many whiskeys. That's when you turn the camera on and go on the internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am
I-
speaking from experience.
I don't think I had any of you guys added on my Facebook yet, but I went to Cancun last year for
Mm.
May 5th, and
Mm.
we don't make a big deal for the Cinco de Mayo thing in Mexico. It's a very low key. It's mostly tourists that make a big deal out of it. And I was with two American friends, so they wanted to go during that time they wanted to be in Mexico. Well, I ended up drinking a little bit too much. And I ended up going live. I never do lives. I just remember waking up at 7 a.m. with like 20 comments, and like all of them were like, "So you're having fun," or something like that. And I just looked at the like the thumb.
The thumbnail. Yeah.
Everyone want to play this, and I just deleted it. But like my face was like that was the face I was making the whole time.
Yeah, well, that was the
I was like,
first time I ended
completely
up.
blocked
The first time I did a live stream, it wasn't drunk or anything, but just happened to hit the wrong button on OBS and it went live.
I remember that.
Next thing you know, it's like 9.5 hours later, playing people's music. It's just like,
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh,
Hey, there
I
he
thought
is.
that was
Hey,
amazing.
Preston.
Preston.
Yeah, it's just sorting myself out.
Sorry if that sounded wrong, but
That's funny. I had to run upstairs and take care of business.
Good night, Bobby. Thanks for hanging out.
Take care, Bobby.
What
Bye,
a
Bobby.
freaking
Keep
great
grooving.
drummer he is. I
Mm.
could watch live streams of that guy playing drums. What a pocket. Great drummer.
Mm.
I fell on my bum last live. I did. That happens. Laugh it off. Get up.
I still remember one time you did a live stream, Preston, and then you forgot to turn off the camera. One time that you did a live stream,
I do
Yeah.
remember
forgot
that
to turn off the camera,
Yeah,
live
and
camera.
you were there
shit.
with.
yeah.
Megan
Maggie's
was going off.
Yeah.
All of
Camera,
a
Preston.
sudden-
Camera.
Preston's music is banned from the United States.
Yeah.
Because of
I'll just
pornographic.
delete that. Does he even know? I looked.
That was-
listened.
but-
That's
I think-
funny. I listened to the whole thing.
I think you were getting told off or something. Actually, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
she was going at. Yeah, I
Yeah.
smile and chuckle.
Yeah. The things we do.
I know it's gonna happen to me one day. I'm just.
Nah, it's okay. It's funny. It's just, it's just a little real life. Right? And it's not like those reality shows, which are pretty much scripted bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Rick.
Doc. Doc's killing me.
Zoom is
Oh,
still live.
yes.
Dude, no, don't
Rick's
do that,
coming in.
dude.
Yes. Because Rick and I have been challenged
Alright,
to
I
do
better
a jam together, and I need to get his info so we can do that. That'd be fun.
Oh, awesome.
Need
That's
to
gonna be a good one.
flank again.
He plays in my ballpark. Preston and Hetriani, they don't play in my ballpark. They play in a much angrier, faster ballpark.
It's fastball park.
Yeah, no, I play slow pitch softball, brother.
Yeah, we're like handball.
I play a game that people watch, think, you know what? I could play that game. When
Is
they
it
watch fast
paddleball?
pitch,
Paddleball around
Yeah.
here is fast.
no, I'm
I'll
saying
leave
slow
welts.
pitch softball. I'm talking like YMCA softball. People watch those games. They're like, yeah, I could play that game.
Mhm.
If I watch you and Hetriani and Hubs, I'm like, yeah. No, those guys are too fast for me. I don't want to play that sport.
I just
Hey, Jack.
I just
Ash's in the
Facebook messaged you a link, Rick, if you're looking for it.
I was playing with this kid that was sending me. He was sending me sheet music, and he he said that he couldn't find anybody to play with him. He was playing like I think it's like kind of like trash metal, but faster. I guess
Speed thrash.
yeah, either speed trash or death metal.
Mm.
Like Steely Dan?
No,
Kidding.
no, like the
Bad
Beatles.
joke. Bad joke.
If it's fast, it usually has speed in the name.
Yeah, something like that. And he sent me the sheet music, and it was ridiculous. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I can't tell when it ends and when it ends, and then when it starts.
That bassist there, Charles Bertude, he's a really, really good bassist, but he makes little jokes like that. He'll have the sheet music up and it's all dots. He's like, he's a double tap guy though. He like,
Hey, Rick.
he really can play.
Okay.
I'm
How you
here.
going, buddy? Yeah.
It's going all right.
Yeah, and then
Good to see
yeah,
you.
I was going to go to bed, but
every single song was in
it's all right.
different tuning. So I was like, send me what you have in the same key at least, so I don't have to keep switching out basses all the time.
Or transpose it.
Yeah, I'm still finishing up like all the transposing. Like
I can't read sheet music at all. So no, if I want to transpose something, I go into Guitar Pro and click it.
But this is all original, so I can't. I have to do it myself. I know a little bit. I'm not good.
If I had a 5-string bass, I would just use my ear. That's all I could do.
Yeah.
I can't read music. All I could ever use is my ear.
If I had a 5-string bass, I'd put it
play
back.
by ear.
Yeah. My wife
wrong one.
She's trained. She can sight read anything on piano. She's a concert pianist, and talk to Mark about this. He and I have talked about this for hours. She gets so pissed off at me because I'll sit down on the piano and I'll hear something and I'll play along with it. She doesn't. There's a barrier between learning classical music, pure sheet music, to learning from ear. I have, years of knowledge of learning theory, plus jazz improv, and they cross over. She can play anything. You throw sheet music in first, she can play it. But if you throw an MP3 on, she'll just sit there going, "What?"
Kids everywhere.
So it's just I respect both. I respect both worlds.
When I started playing guitar, I taught myself and I learned by ear.
Mm-hmm.
But then eventually I took lessons, and then I was in college, I was in law school, but I decided I wanted to pursue guitar professionally. So I went to a music conservatory. And I noticed that all the guitarists and like all the other instrumentalists were impressive. But most of them started playing when they were like 6 years old. And I picked up a guitar when I was 16 or 17. So I was kind of older.
Yeah.
I went to music
it's
school.
so different. Like the way they perceive
Where did you get?
and understand all of it is just, I'm like, how do I develop all those skills? But I did see that as soon as you asked any of them to improvise or to play something outside of classical music, they would flip out.
It's got to be in front of them.
They would freeze.
Yeah. I'm from a long line of classical musicians, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that too.
Where did you go to school? Music school, Rick?
Oh, I went to Duquesne University, which was pretty cool. That's where my father went to. He was a reed player, so that was a big deal to me to go there.
And what was your major with that?
Music education. But
okay.
My jazz guitar also was my main focus. Did you guys watch Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Did you remember Joe Negri? Handyman Negri?
Yes.
He was my guitar teacher in college.
Oh, right
Are you
on.
serious?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a good guy. He's still around actually. He's in his 90s now.
Mine is a drunk now. So I have no idea. That's awesome for you.
I don't know, Joe might be. No, I doubt it. He was always a real stand-up guy. He's a sweet dude. He's one of those guys. If he was playing in a club, you went to see him. He would play just a couple notes, look up and smile, and you'd be like, "Wow, that's it."
Mm.
And so it was great.
Gary
I
did
can
that.
appreciate the jazz influences in your music, Rick.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I watch your videos when you're just, I don't know if you just put a camera on, play the track, and then jam along with it, or you do editing. I don't know, but
Hey, Blue.
what I love about you is that you always have a sense of familiarity.
It's
when I
because it's
say
like
that,
the
I mean,
30th take.
well, no, what I'm saying is that you lay into the blues, into what the layman would hear as guitar,
Yeah.
and you lay into the simple stuff, and then it's like it's always like around 2 minutes and 15 seconds, just before you throw in another clip of you playing another guitar. You'll do some kind of passing phrase that's like diminished, half augmented. You're just doing something completely jazz, and then you settle back in.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
it's
Thank you.
clear
That means a
you've been-
lot actually, because that's
Mm.
Well,
a big part of
you
it.
do it intentionally.
And
You've
it's always
got
very
to. I do that.
noticeable.
I was
I can
always
always
taught
tell
that
when it's Rick Flag.
Mm.
I was always
I
taught
just
that
hear the guitar. I'm like, that's Rick.
you play blues to break it up, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
to offer people a little bit that's
Just give people some boomer bends.
yeah, people like to hear it, and then
Yeah.
you
I
know the
hate that
jazz
crap.
riffs. I don't know, I'm not so great at them to begin with. But
That's
Rick,
why I like
where
Robert's.
are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so
It is a jazz big, yeah, man.
being a guitar player in Texas, I grew up not wanting to be a blues player, so I rejected
Really?
all blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan's from Dallas, and I rejected all that stuff.
Yeah, but he moved to Houston, so he rejected
Didn't
you
matter.
too.
When he blew up, he was Dallas and Austin. Those are the two cities I grew up playing in.
Yeah,
And I didn't discover blues until like 4 years ago,
Really?
5 years ago when I
doesn't
joined
sound
this.
like it, dude.
Well, you can't. You live in Texas. You can't get away from Eric Johnson and Stevie Ray.
I wish I was there.
But now I have a new appreciation for the blues.
That's cool.
But I was a jazz student, so that was always just so dumb to me. But,
Well, yeah, they do push that. They think that
I
this
know.
is kind of, I don't know. They didn't let us bend in college. If you bended, they'd look at you like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't let you go from chord to chord or change to change without highlighting the chord to the change.
That's right.
Passing chords. Yeah.
Hmm.
But Stevie just, I've learned to appreciate it.
Yeah. I saw him 3 times. I was lucky.
I've seen him probably 40 times because he always played within 5 miles of my house.
You were extra lucky.
Not to me. I was like, I don't want to do, oh shit, another pentatonic scale. I don't want to hear this stuff. What a stupid jerk I was.
When I was a school teacher, I used to set up the little percussion marimbas and stuff that we had. They were like little instruments. They're
Yeah,
called
the little
Orff
xylophones.
instruments. And I used to set them up with pentatonic scales. And I would just play chords on the piano.
right now,
And then I'd
and
let
I'm
all the kids
connecting
just.
them with blues.
They never
They
played
couldn't hit a wrong note.
They never played a wrong note.
I know,
That's
awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
It
so
was
much better
fun.
than a room full of kids playing recorder. Or,
Yeah.
No, I taught that too.
Yeah.
I taught recorder, believe me. It was,
Oh, man.
actually, I love teaching recorder. It was a lot of fun because you got a whole room of kids to pay attention and do something together. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Ooh.
When they get it, you can see it in their eyes too.
Oh, they loved it. Actually,
Yeah.
this is funny. I had a really good student on recorder, and he learned to play "Come Sail Away," the whole melody, beginning to end.
It fell to the dark side.
Was it before or after the cartoon?
Hey, Janice.
You know, the Cartman Come Sail Away. Was it
Oh
before
no,
or
it was
after that?
before because it was. Well, I don't know. I don't know that I remember that, but it was like a good 20 years ago that I did that. So you told me. It was a lot of fun. Anyway. Don't teach school anymore.
I'm barely getting familiar with blues. Wasn't exposed much to it.
Thank God for you.
But I only see it as like a.
Well, when I was a little
did
kid, there was
listen
no
to-
blues in my house. There was jazz or there was hard rock.
Everything. Blues was big. We liked the old rock too, like country rock and stuff. My mom was big into rock. My
I
dad
listened to a
was
lot of,
country.
Latin jazz.
Yeah.
A lot of Latin jazz.
I will say this from Texas. I will say this: everything before Stevie Ray was largely unacknowledged in the world, and Stevie Ray brought blues to the forefront. Then it was all blues, and it was stereotypical blues, not what he played. He's brilliant, but what bands did to cover him. And then it just did this thing until Johnny Lang came out. And Johnny Lang, in my humble opinion, very humble opinion, is a better blues player than Stevie Ray, because Johnny Lang was
If I
the
wanted
first
to
guy
learn from
post
Stevie
blues.
Ray, I'd want to learn from who Stevie Ray was influenced by, and that was guys
Albert
like
King.
Ry
Yeah,
Cooder.
right, but Johnny Lang took Stevie Ray's and the classic blues, he immersed it with hip hop and soul. I thought, in my opinion, which is largely unpopular, which means Rolling Stone will pick up my article next month because they're, jerks. But I think Johnny Lang was instrumental in watering down Stevie Ray Vaughan to merging it with hip hop and soul and pop. I thought he was instrumental, and he doesn't give enough credit.
What about Robert Cray?
He's a hack.
God.
I opened for
Really?
Robert Cray. That motherfucker
Really?
played out of tune.
Oh,
I
man.
opened for him in '96.
That's rough.
I got to tell you, that guy,
Hey, Gary, are you writing it down?
he could sing. He could sing, but that guy couldn't tune his guitar. It was out of tune the whole night. So that's one show, and 300 shows he played that year. So that's my opinion.
Tim will tell you what he thinks. Don't worry.
Yeah, and that whole clean thing just into an amp. Nah, bro. Nah. The guitar is an imperfect instrument. You've got to add compression. You got to add something to get that cheesy vintage Strat to sustain. And his never did. Go back and listen to any recording. They just die.
Take care, Rick.
See you, Rick.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
I ran him off with my offensive.
No.
Sorry.
Who can we offend next?
Who can we offend?
Yeah, Marshall's still in the chat. Dude, yes. Thanks. Robert Cray is a hack because he ain't from Texas.
He's my hometown
I hate
hero.
Texans. Yeah. Yeah.
Blue.
I may live in Texas and my channel is based off Texas, but I was not born in Texas. I was raised in Germany. So go figure. Brett Mason? Yes. Jacoby. Fucking love Brett Mason. Freaking
ban me, I'll come on.
especially love Brett Mason. Sorry.
I have to time out Gary before he'll come in.
See, an electrical guitar.
My first electric guitar. was
Oh,
um,
yes.
I had a piecemeal Kramer type thing, bits of guitars put together into one. And first song, I couldn't tell you probably. On that one, with the distortion pedal, would have been an Iron Maiden.
My first electric guitar is that one right there.
Number the Beast.
Oh,
It's
I wish I had mine.
It's
Mine was an Ibanez
it's
Roadstar.
it's a
251.
Telecaster. It has EMGs
50.
active. Um,
Oh,
I
girl,
and I
then you had
don't.
a leg up. Yes.
But it's like,
Yes.
I've never really.
So,
I'm
hey
still kind
Andrew,
of trying to figure out the electric guitar part. Uh, I I feel more comfortable with acoustics with nylon strings because that's what I learned on, and that's what I did for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And then,
Before that,
but yeah,
I borrowed my sister's guitar all the time. I never had one of my own when we were growing up, so we shared ours. Uh, but she didn't stick to it at all.
well, that's like another like funny thing is ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to play music, but I wanted to be a drummer. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
every year I would ask for a drum set. I would ask for a drum set. And then my parents got a guitar for both me and my brother. And they're like, if you want lessons, there's the guitar. I was like, I don't want to learn how to play guitar. So my brother was the one that took guitar lessons. And somewhere along the way, I was like, got frustrated with him, like not practicing and not even, I don't know, he just wasn't able to like change chords. And I just like yanked the guitar away from him, like this, you idiot, like this.
That's funny.
sounds very Van Halen-esque. Drummer
Yeah,
becomes a guitarist.
After
So-
I lost access to my sister's guitar, I wasn't at home anymore. So, but I was living with some other guys, and they had a bass. So I picked up bass for years. But I always went back to guitar, always. It's like my thing. It's my go-to.
I try to, but I'm more comfortable with bass now.
I like bass. It's my
Any-
it's
any
where I
detail like
change
it.
my genre. I don't play metal when I play bass most of the time. That's what I'll record when I post my channel, but it's where I change my whatever I want to learn. I'll play a pop song or a blues thing, or even I'll go outside my box.
I
You know,
enjoy
that-
playing
that-
a lot. It's not that easy as a Brazilian music.
Oh man,
But I love playing that type of music. But it's not
But see,
very common over here.
it's
yeah,
hard to
bass
play.
guitar is under represented in the hippie community, and we have some good bass players. Not in, of course, we'll include Boomer Bass Meme.
Mhm.
But I would love for if Hippie won't do it, then maybe Mark will do it. That we'll do a town meeting of bass players in the community. I've made my career as a guitar player, but for the first 10 years of my professional career, I was a bass player. And what I played all through college, high school and junior high was bass. So I'm always a bass player first. I would love to put together a bass player Zoom where we just talk about bass. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
That'd be dope.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I call myself a bassist though, which is kind of weird. I have more guitars than basses.
Then you wouldn't be invited.
All right.
No. Kidding.
Bye-bye.
I'm kidding. You'd be in the second wave.
I'm gonna take
Second wave.
I'm taking my guitar and go home.
That'd be cool, Ed. Linda's I love watching Linda play bass. Ed's wife. She gets so into it. And the bass is just about as big as she is.
Yeah.
That's cute.
But dude, she plays the
Fretless
pocket.
is
You gotta
weird,
appreciate
man.
that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She plays
But we should definitely do that, you know, and as much as guitar players like to talk about gear, right? You know, from the Rockman to the, you know, the big 20 space racks to the modelers or whatever. Bass players, man, we've had limited options throughout the years, right?
If you don't have to,
yeah.
because they often take the role of the not rhythm per se, but they take a lot of that wall in the background. Synchronizers. They'll operate the Moog.
No, absolutely. The bass player is the timekeeper of the band.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes to say it's the drummer. It is not.
But it's not.
No, they're in the pocket.
No.
Yeah.
Drummers play, but the bass player dictates the
Yep.
pace of the band, and there's not enough time spent talking about that.
Tempo and melody.
Just groove
Oh, that's it.
and pace, you know. And then you can go into tone of growl
Please
and
do not
thump
miss my
and
100
all
piece.
those things that no one ever talks about. They want to talk about guitars. Yeah, and I'm
with you.
begrudgingly talking about this because the last 3 projects I've been invited to play on, it's not my voice, it's not my songwriting, it's not my guitar, it's fucking bass.
Yeah.
So I'm back to being a bass player on YouTube, and I'm
Awesome.
cool with that. But let's do
Your bass lines are
session.
really, really good, though.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
shoot.
there, man. They're great.
In my
who's
opinion, the
real-
bass should only be featured 4 times in the song. It should hold
I
the
think it
show
is an
foundation,
instrument, though. So, but
but
my
it
ear
should be
can
featured
break up all. And
like 4 times. But everything
I know
else
what
it
you
should
mean, though.
support. So
I know what you mean.
You know who's really good? He's like, I was very surprised with Kevlin,
yeah,
Mhm.
he's a bass player.
the guy with the 12 string. He's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good
Yep.
bass player. He's
Well,
like,
he was
I
a
heard him
bass
play-
player before COVID.
I was like, you're not a guitarist. I was like,
Hmm?
you're a freaking badass bass player.
yeah,
Pretty and
And
pocketed, nice, strong tone.
Ed Donor, you should have
Ed?
just got a response to your friend request. I'll send you a link as well, mate. Excuse me for butting in there.
On your face. No, it's fine.
My face.
hey, the 5150 show is here.
Yeah,
So good to
Andrew.
see you guys. You
Yeah.
New Zealand, Australian, British guys. Just you are a balm to my
Brody, take care, man.
soul that can't go to sleep at night.
What's late?
I haven't seen
Take
them. I'll
care,
check
Mike.
them out.
Oh, they're great.
Mhm.
They take albums and they rate the best songs,
Mm.
and they're
We
just so good. Yeah.
We did Rumours last night.
Oh,
Which was
and I wasn't a
good
part
fun.
of that. Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
We're waiting
Yeah,
for
but we
Brad
should
to
have
pick
a
the next
bass
one.
show. We should find the
We
bass
should.
players in the hippie community, have a show where the guitar players don't get to talk. I would love that because their points are invalid. Drummers can talk. Drummers can comment. Guitar players cannot. Only bass players and then drummers in the chat. Everybody else has to be.
I'll put my bass
Watching.
hat on.
There you go. Hey, there's another bass player. Yeah, Natalia, let's.
But yeah, I think
rally
we
for
are very
this.
much underrepresented. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like even the amount of like tech talk.
Can singers talk? No, they can sing.
There's not a lot of tech to bass though. It's a good system, but it's mostly dependent on these things called fingers and
Yeah.
talent, you know. Whereas guitar players use gadgets. So let's do one of those, Mark. Natalia and I call upon you
We're
to convene
summoning-
a session of live stream bass players.
We're
and you will
summoning
be
the
the
Mark
moderator.
because he's not busy enough. He's not busy enough, so we just want to throw something to keep you.
Oh
entertained.
yeah.
He's in lockdown, so we can still take advantage of COVID by, slaving him out to another live stream. You know I love you, brother.
Yeah.
Generalizing guitar players is dangerous.
It's typical, though. I'm a
Right.
guitar player, too.
Not all of my guitars have rounded edges, you know.
We got
didn't call
24
myself-
people watching us.
I didn't call myself a bass player until recently. Like all the time, I was like, "Yeah, I'm a guitarist." But one friend pointed out, "Is like, I've never seen you play guitar. You're always playing bass."
Yeah.
She's like, anytime I've seen you in a band, you're always playing bass." And I started thinking about it. I was like, "Yeah, I'm always playing
I call
bass."
myself a guitarist.
But don't do what I did, Natalia. I was a bass player. I was always
See
a
you,
guitar
Janice.
player at heart.
Take care, Janice.
I had the same comment, is that you're always the bass player. And I was like, but I'm a guitar player. So I started to like, no, I'm not a bass player. But I would thank Mark, and I would thank
Yeah.
Marshall, and Jack Flash for reminding me that I'm a bass player, because
I
they
agree.
don't want anything from me unless it's bass or background vocals. So they brought me back. And now, Natalia, I'm carrying the flag. Let's have a bass player stream.
Yes, yes,
Screw
definitely.
these 6-string Ponzies, you know?
Hey Ed, how
I was
you
gonna
going,
say,
man?
but
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
6-string bass.
Great. How's it going?
No, not a 6-string
Whoa.
bass. No, too many.
A
Four is enough.
little bit hot there, buddy.
I just kept playing around. But if you have to, adjust the volume. And
You must have Glenn Frickard. No.
yeah,
Sounds great.
Actually, that'd be funny.
Good night,
Mitch.
PJ Kobe. Good
Night,
how's
to
that
Kobe.
volume?
PJ.
Good, man.
PJ.
That's good.
Jack Flash, dude, get a link and come join us, please.
I think most guitar players at some point had to play bass somewhere, like in a, you know.
Because nobody wants to play bass, so they grab another guitar player.
Well, it kind of used to be that way. It kind of used to be that way, but I think it's, well, I mean, it can be hard to find a bass player. It can.
A good one.
It is. It's very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't found one.
The problem is finding like-minded people
Just kidding.
that will commit to showing up
Yeah, definitely.
and you know, and practicing enough to where they're not winging it all the time. I
Yeah.
played in bands where guys they didn't want to rehearse. They'd call you on the phone and they go, "Hey, learn this song." Okay, what key?
Yeah.
Listen to the record and let me know. You know, it's like, what? You're telling me to learn a song and now you don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when
Never happened to me often. Can't tell you that.
I mean, I know that the pros, like, they have like a kind of like a rolling repertory, and they just kind of hire each other, like, like, we're playing this gig and these are the songs we're playing. Or sometimes they just show up and they hand them the sheet music that day. But these are people that read, and that's what they do all the time. So I understand, but like people like me that are not there.
that I've played with for 30 years that will call me up and go, "Hey, I got a gig at the American Legion Hall. Can you play guitar?" And I know what he's going to do. He's going to do his oldies set, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it. And bass players were a problem for me.
Yeah, we're always problem children.
I was getting bands, and I was getting into these country bands where I'd go in as the guitar player, and there'd be like a guitar player, a keyboard player, and a drummer, but no bass player. And then somebody would go, "Hey, I know another guitar player. Okay.
Mhm.
So the other
Of course
guitar
you
player
do.
comes over and I go, all right, I'll just play bass. And I ended up playing bass quite a bit just because nobody else did or we couldn't find anybody. That's when Linda started playing the bass. She walked in my music room one day and she goes, I think I'm going to learn to play the bass guitar.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, well, there it is.
That's
You
awesome.
know, go for it.
Yeah.
And so, she picked it up and she's like, well, show me what to do. And so I spent a few minutes with her and said, just do this. So she immediately went out and bought books and found some stuff on the internet. This was like back in 2009 or 2008. And I was working in a factory and she had retired. So I would come home from work and she'd be in there. Well, we had a friend that was a bass player and a guitar guy that I got a lot of my guitars worked on from and some of my guitars from. And he brought her like an Ampeg SVT
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
10 cabinet, 300-watt tube head. And I'm like,
You can't beat
what the
that.
hell are you doing?
I just
Once
recently
she
got
played
one of
through
those.
that- Once she played through that, she was like, this is great. She could shake the whole house.
Yeah.
I'd pull in the driveway in the afternoon and the windows would be rattling in the house, and I'm
Yeah.
oh my God, if
The
I
police
had
have my
finally-
name. They'd be there. They'd be like, hey, is Preston here?
finally I had him get that thing out of here, but she just kept playing. And so I started putting songs together with her and I took her to an open mic. And I
Right on.
figured this is going to go one of two ways. She's either going to, at the last minute, say, I'm not getting on stage. Or she's going to go up and we'll see what happens. We got up there. Well, she would make cheat sheets where she would write the notes down. Okay. We had like 3 songs to play. Once I started playing and she got focused on her music, she played it perfectly and didn't even notice that the dance floor had gotten packed and everybody
Right
was
on.
dancing. And when we ended the song, she looked up and she's like in shock, like, holy crap, what's going on here? So I was like, keep it going, keep it going. So I knew, I said, this could work.
Mhm.
So
Ed,
me and her
Ed, the
started
worst thing you
naming
want
songs,
is an
and I
ambitious
had
bass
a
player.
whole channel that I had about 80 videos on of me and her playing, which I've lost. I wish I could recover all that stuff, but oh well. But she just never looked back. And she's not a real complicated, fancy bass player. She's as rudimentary as you can get. But if you're playing the right song, man, she's right there. She'll be right on it.
Ed, I've watched your videos and I admire your wife's playing. I would compare her to Jack White's the White Stripes drummer. She was not a drummer. She didn't know how to play drums, but she knew how to
Keep
fill it
beat.
out.
I'll tell you who I compare.
I would
her
compare
to.
that.
I compare
wait a
her to Leland Sklar because
Okay.
Leland will play the simplest one-note bass patterns, and not that he can't get fancy because he can.
But
Yeah.
he's got the endurance to do
Man.
what needs to be done. Yeah.
He's not there to turn it into mud. He's right on the bottom end and right on the downbeat, and that's what we try to get her to do.
Yeah, and she does it. Yeah, I happen to know Chuck Rennie, who played with Steely Dan at Richard Franklin. He lives about 4 miles from me. He played on one of my records, and we've had extensive, just long conversations about this because he loves the new bass players, the Dave Matthews guy, and not Dave Matthews. I can't think of his name. He loves these guys that can do all that stuff. He goes, that's cool. To Chuck, who's from old school, He's from Motown. He goes, bass players that want to shine is the wrong bass player you want to hire. He goes, he taught me, he goes, a bass player can only shine 4 times in a song. You laid the groove down, and in a 3.5 minute song, you got 4 chances to play a groove. Everything else has got to support the song. And that's what he taught me. And as a bass player that I grew up in, if you listen to my channel, all the bass is me, except for a couple of songs with an exceptional bass player, Neil Brinks, who's just, God, that guy's crazy good. You'll only hear a bass riff maybe 4 times in a song. Everything else is supporting the song, you know. So it's important for bass players to support songs, and look for 1 or 2 opportunities, maybe up to 4 opportunities to bring attention to yourself with a cool bass riff. But lock in with that kick and push the song, you know. The bass players drive drummers, you know. Everybody says the drummer is the timekeeper of the band, but it's the bass player that keeps the drummer in time, you know. It's so important. And it's so under discussed. I see your response, Sith. Natalia, you're laughing at that because you know I'm right.
Yeah. Yep.
How many times have you kept your band in line?
So many times I got kicked out quite a few times.
Expressing
Probably got
unpopular
kicked out by a
opinions.
drummer that was rushing.
Yes.
Yes.
Our drummer, my drummer, I've been playing with Fred close to 4. We worked it out. It's like 40 years ago we started playing together, and it's been pretty consistent over that time period. He loves playing with Linda because there's this other guy in town that's a friend of ours that is a bass player. He's also a piano player, and he's a really good piano player because he, you know, took piano lessons, classical piano and stuff. But he plays bass in a band. And Fred went and filled in with him, and I thought, man, you sound great with these guys. He goes, I can't stand this bass player. He's all over the place. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, he never stops for a second. And I'm like, well, I didn't notice it that much, but you're the one playing the drums, so I guess you would notice. And he's like, well, I don't think he's listening to me. Oh, could be.
What would Cream be without Jack Bruce? What would Zeppelin be without John?
He was an amazing
I mean,
singer.
bass players. Here's the sad thing. I'm gonna make a very controversial statement. So all you bass players out there, please forgive me. One of my favorite bands is the Foo Fighters. I love that band. I love Dave Grohl. I wish he was my brother-in-law. I fucking love that guy. I own all his records. I've listened to his records with headphones on. I still can't fucking hear the bass after 40 years.
Huh.
He loves that bass player, Nate, whatever his name is.
Yeah. But
he's so buried in the mix, he might as well play in Metallica. I mean, you can't hear the guy. So, no, I'm serious. Bass player friends, what the hell's going on? If he's so good, I don't think he's a good bass player. I think what he is, he's a good bandmate. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because I can't hear him. I've literally pulled his shit into my DAW.
Nate Levens. Yeah.
And I can't hear him. What is he playing? So, well, Natalia, you're our resident bass player. Give me a response because I love that band. But name me a bass part he's played. I don't know it.
No.
Well, that would be a nightmare for me because back in the day, like
And
when
it's
you
not
had
just
to learn
him,
a
it's
song
a
from
lot
a
of-
record or
it's
from
a lot
tape,
The bands, and I don't know if This is
Well,
like something that happens.
you're chopping in and out there, Natalia.
Yeah.
He froze up. But I would
I
learn
so want to
chord
hear
bass
this
from the
because
bass
this is
line.
Yeah.
If you can't
controversial.
hear the bass line, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He holds the bottom down, but I challenge you to listen to any Foo Fighters song and identify what the bass player is doing. It's so buried. Oh, and she's frozen. Oh, I so wanted to hear this from her.
Guar. Everything else sucks. Sorry. Guar.
Dude, if I were wearing a penis helmet and do a video on YouTube, I would be Guar. Sorry.
Guar showed up in my city. They looked at our stadium and went, nope, and they left.
Of course
Why?
they did, because they don't have
Because
any
they pay
songs.
for the cleanup.
Preston,
And they won't pay for carpets.
Preston, sing me a song
They just wouldn't do
that
it.
Guar recorded.
Thousands of dollars in damages if they were there. So they were like,
Preston,
nope.
Preston, sing me a song that Guar recorded. Give me 4 bars of anything from Guar.
Anything from Guar.
4
I don't
bars.
really listen to them.
Sing it to me.
Good Lord, no.
Well, I heard him do a cover of "Carry On My Wayward Son" that was pretty good.
No, not
Really?
covers. Not covers. Give
It's on
me
a
4
thing called-
bars of an original Guar.
The AV Club.
No one can sing 4 bars of an original Guar song because they were a gimmick. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
they're still a gimmick. They're still a
Like,
gimmick.
Didn't a couple of them die?
Probably.
The one that
at
had the
least they keep
Viking
getting
funeral.
arrested or
Singer
some
did.
shit.
Not enough.
No, one of them had the Viking funeral. Pushed him out in the middle of the river and shot flaming arrows at it.
You know, that I had this problem with Kiss, even when I was a kid.
Yeah, I never listened to them either.
And I kept telling my friends, I'm not going to learn Kiss songs. I don't like them, and they're a gimmick.
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was wrong because they ended up being huge.
Oh, yeah. I still
You know,
don't
that first
play their
album
music.
came
or
out
anything.
hotter than hell, and I was like 14, 13 years old. I was like, what is this?
Oh, I know. At the
You know,
time,
we had
they were great.
Rush album.
This is
that had
censorship.
Rush on the front with like the splatter paint. Or the, you know, that's what I
Yeah.
wanted.
After the Kiss comic book, they were a joke. I mean, when they put
And
the
the
blood into
cartoons.
the ink, they were a joke. they were after school special, and they haven't done anything since.
The lunch boxes and the bed sheets.
Yeah, they're nothing since. I mean, they're a TV show, and they were my favorite band.
I
Over
always wanted to
Zeppelin
get
when I was
the Kiss
76.
action figures and stick firecrackers up their
Yeah.
butts and blow them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
My friend one time said, let's just paint our face yellow and call the band Piss. That's funny.
Wow.
That's more original than Kiss. I like that. You know
Yeah.
what? Go for that. That's got a David Bowie thing to it. David Bowie
I
had a
love
really
Bowie,
blue score.
but
of,
I hated
humor.
the way he put himself out sometimes.
Probably
I was
Justin.
embarrassed for him. When, like, some of the outfits and stuff, I was just like, look, I get it, but wow. You know? But then I was such a huge Mata Hoople fan that
Mike.
I absolutely love Mata Hoople. All the way to Memphis was great.
Yeah, Justin Scott. I wonder if there was Kiss toilet paper. Yeah, Gene Simmons was marketed anything.
Yeah. Tried to copyright that.
Wasn't
Mine.
who was it? Hagar or was it Dio? I
Dio.
can't remember which one. Dio. Yeah.
Dio popularized it, but it's like 500 years old or something.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Devil's
that?
horns.
The symbol, word against the
Oh.
evil eye.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Dio the
Yeah,
horn.
he tried to copyright it or trademark the shit. Gene Simmons.
Mhm.
Yeah, make a buck every time somebody does this. You break.
Man.
Or draws it or whatever. Gary.
And John's saying yes, there was toilet paper.
Gary Hugg, he wouldn't use Kiss toilet paper.
We had a famous Australian comedian down here that used to do interviews with bands and stuff when they were coming through town, called Norman Gunston was his stage name. I always remember when he did an interview with Kiss and they were taking photos and all the rest of it, and he's carrying on going, I'm not standing in front of Paul, I'm not standing in front of Paul. It's like, it was yes, it didn't go down very well at the time.
What was he implying?
Yeah.
Don't drop the soap.
all those guys with makeup on and stuff. Yeah. But if you saw Norman Gunston, he was like this real skinny dude that used to have like his thing was looked like he'd
Wait,
just
John,
been shaving
really?
and had like bits of toilet paper stuck on his face where he'd cut himself, and yeah, used to call himself a little Aussie bleeder. Very, very funny guy.
Why didn't you set up?
Every once in a while, I'll go down a Beatles rabbit hole on YouTube and I'll look up live performances of the Beatles,
Mm-hmm.
and not the ones where they like. But I watch them too, like where they actually made videos and they're lip synced because they're doing something. But when you watch the actual live performances, you can't deny the magic that was going on.
Mm. Yeah,
The
whilst I
harmony
wasn't,
and
I wasn't a huge Beatles fan, but respect their music and everything they've done. But I watched that 9-hour documentary thing, yeah, and was pretty impressed with watching it all.
I want to watch that. I've just been too cheap to pay for the streaming, but I know I'm gonna have to do it eventually.
But they
It's
were a great
worthwhile.
band because they were playing 10-hour freaking shows in Germany.
Yeah.
They got good because they freaking played a lot.
Yeah.
And when they started making records, which no one talks about these days, the records they made weren't multi-tracked. They were played live.
Right.
Yeah, that's how they did it back
They were
then.
good because they did the time.
Yeah, straight off the floor.
I don't think they started getting fancy until like Sgt. Pepper.
Right. When they and it happened when two things happened. They wanted to close mic the cellos, the string section on
Strawberry Fields.
All the Lonely People.
Oh, okay.
Eleanor Rigby.
So
they close mic for the first time in musical history, and all the string players were pushing their chairs back. We're like, oh, why is they put the mic on me? And then they, close mic the bass, and then they separate mic the drums. Those guys broke so many rules. And they were the first band to use the recording studio as an instrument, which we all do now.
Mm-hmm.
No one records anything without using compression, EQ, room,
delay or something
as an instrument to create the track.
Part of the
Those
song.
guys, they were the first,
Yeah, well, the engineers were. Yeah. Alan Parsons and I keep forgetting what's his name, Sir
Emmerich. I can't think of his name. I know it, but
Abbey Road. Yeah.
What is the old show that came out of Germany? Was that Top of the Pops or was that Whistle Stop?
Whistle Stop was England for
Whistle-
sure.
I think Top of
And-
the
Yeah, I
Pops
think that was England. Yeah.
came
No,
out
both
of
UK
Germany.
Top
as
of the
far
Pops was also
Something that-
UK.
There were some phenomenal performances by people on some of those shows. It's just
Oh
amazing.
man, for sure. For sure. That's some of their inauguration videos were there. That was their first live performances in some
Yeah.
cases.
Did you know that it was a coincidence that there was an Eleanor Rigby in Liverpool that died? It's in the Get Back thing, but
Yeah, I think I did hear
Paul had written Eleanor, didn't have a last name, and chose Rigby because it sounded important. And then he found out like 10, 15 years after the record was released that there was an Eleanor Rigby in Liverpool Cemetery.
Wow.
Now, he did admit that he passed by that cemetery every day, so it very well be that he would look and it does
something.
face
Might
the
have been
road.
somewhere up in here.
I
But yeah,
can't remember what song it was, but I read one time somewhere where he was picking names out of the phone book to fit into lyrics.
It was Father McKenzie. He looked because it was originally Father McCartney, and they said, "Well, you can't do that because John said, well, you can't do that because it's going to sound like you're talking about your father." Sorry, all you Liverpool people. So Paul pulled out. He talks about this on this documentary. He says, "So I pulled out the phone book, went to MC, and came to the first word that was not McCartney, and it was." That name, Mackenzie. And so John said, "That's good. Let's go with that." But the thing is, fascinates me about that whole Get Back thing that I've seen a few channels do something about is the fact that if you understand the time frame of when the cameras rolled and when they had to deliver masters to their record company, that's like 2 weeks, and they had to cut a record in what 3 weeks. So they were making instant decisions on epic songs that define a generation based on a deadline.
Mhm.
He wrote Paul wrote this epic song, Eleanor Rigby. And when it came to, he's like, well, this is a good song, John said. And Sir George Martin said, good song, let's finish it. And he's like, well, I don't have a name for this guy. I've got, McCartney. And I'm like, well, you can't use that. So they pull up in the studio in the basement of Apple Studios, they pull up a freaking phone book. They go to an MC and find, Mackenzie after McCartney and say, well, will that work? And they're like, good enough. Let's roll with it. Let's record it. That shit is brilliant to a songwriter like me.
There's another thing that amazes me, and it has all to do with YouTube. Once YouTube got started and started rolling, and you literally, I don't care who you type in, you'll come up with a live performance, whether it be a TV show or a full concert of almost anybody. Now, during the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, where was all this crap? Because we weren't doing it.
It was radio. It was radio back then.
It was radio.
No, but it was.
We were buying the records, and we would catch a glimpse of them on Don Kirshner or the Midnight Special or some talk show. Would like Mike Douglas would have John Lennon with Chuck Berry, which was one of the most terrible performances of Johnny B. Good ever. But Chuck Berry and John Lennon, man.
No.
But then
and
all
Jack
of a
Flash,
sudden,
you're right.
Can you imagine if we had access to all that when we were much younger? If I had access to all that video when I was 14 instead of 50,
I've got a bigger question for you, Ed, and I've got a question for all of us musicians that are nearing 50 or over 50.
I'm still in the kids' table.
Okay, well, stand by. But okay, so we got to see as children growing up and seeing the Beatles break the mold, because before the Beatles, no one wrote their own songs. So you got to give them that. Didn't go in through all the stuff in the 50s and 60s, and now the 60s come, the British invasion comes. They're all writing their songs. My question for my generation is, our early generation heroes changed the music business, right? So they changed it to, we're going to do this. And they did it. And then, say, the early 70s up to like 78 was just a glory years for me. But you take, early 80s to now, and it's, in my opinion, the power's taken back away from those songwriter great bands, put back into the powers that be that published those bands. For 8 years, it was all the songwriters pushed the stuff, and the labels had to release it. And by freaking 85, 86, it just, the labels took the control back. And it's been that way until 2020, and till all the bands had to stop touring and push their stuff out to YouTube and social media because their tours were canceled. I think we are in a renaissance. I really do think that we're in a renaissance where the content creators have the control. I don't know. That's why I throw it back to you guys. But that's my observation.
If the creators understand the technology and get their head around it and are smart, then yes, there is big opportunities. At the same time, there is still a huge machine out there that's doing a lot of typical stuff. But
the thing with me for like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, whatever, and all these people that are popular, there's so many and it's so flooded that you can't look at it all. There's not enough time to look at it all. And
breaking my life up into 5-minute segments now.
I am brain dead to new music. I still fall back to listening to the Hollies, the Beatles, stuff from the late 60s, early 70s, the rock bands from the 70s. In the 80s, it started to drop off. I mean, we had bands like Foreigner, there was Tom Petty, there was AC/DC, there was that stuff, but I can remember a couple things from the 90s. The Gin Blossoms, the Spin Doctors. To me, the 90s, the best thing that came out of the 90s was the Black Crowes, because they were a type of blues-based rock that I could relate to. And then, beyond that, it started getting lost on me.
It's funny.
In the 80s, I was listening to some pretty not strange stuff, but not the same stuff my friends were listening to. I was listening to Elvis Costello and Niccolo and Martha Crenshaw and Dave Edmunds. And I was real big into that, and the Stray Cats and kind of a rockabilly type thing. And, you know, they all wanted to play Motley Crue and stuff like that, and I wasn't there for it. I wasn't down for it. I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. I don't know how those bands were doing that at the time. You know, I couldn't make that kind of sound with a guitar.
It's one of the things like Hippie Show and Ron Ward and Pete Johns and Jade and stuff like that are doing that I find really cool is that you're getting exposed to different stuff, even though, you know, a lot of the community are doing covers of stuff that they like. There's enough new stuff in there that is sort of, you know, turning you onto a little bit of different stuff.
Well, but see, if when Hippie plays like one of Texas Jackdaw's songs,
Oh man,
his music relates to me back to something I'm familiar with.
Yep.
And it stands out to me, and I'm like, okay, I like this. And then some of the other stuff is more either modern or it goes in a different direction. And I'm just like, oh, well, okay, it's cool, you know. But it's not as relatable, you know.
Yeah, the thing I find hard, and probably because I got a couple of kids that are, you know, just under 20, that I probably get exposed to it more than a lot of people, is finding new stuff. And it's interesting that my kids actually probably never listen to the radio, yet they're finding all kinds of new music that in all kinds of genres as well. It's not, you know, pop or whatever is the stuff that
I'm also a big folk country guy. So I follow modern guys that are in more of some of are almost like borderline ragtime music. And a lot of acoustic guitars. I've been listening to a lot of bluegrass. I love Billy Strings.
Yeah, I believe that, blues.
Billy Strings
video killed the radio guitar. Did it?
But like, we'll go to band practice and we'll go, hey, I got some new songs to learn. And the joke is, these songs are 40 years old.
Yeah.
It's a new song, but it's 40 years old.
Gonna do a new Luden Wainwright Jr. song.
Yeah. I did post my most recent video was Pantera. There, Gary.
See, I wouldn't even know how to begin to record something like that.
Second last.
I would have no clue.
Sorry, Ed, I missed that. You wouldn't know how to begin what? Sorry?
Record something like a Pantera song. I would have no clue.
Oh. Yeah,
Start
I just
with
play
drums.
along to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole big discussion in itself. How to lay down tracks.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're trying to do a cover of something.
I'm using a mixer, so I just play myself along in one track and the song is in the other.
Every time I get a new computer, the stuff I had doesn't work anymore. And 6-7 years ago, I had a 32-bit computer with an 8-channel Sound Blaster sound card. All I had to do was plug any mixing board into it, and I could mix into a DAW, and everything would come out perfect. Now, I run into latency problems. I run into this problem. I run into that problem, and it's just like, it just gets harder and harder and harder. And I tried to do a live stream tonight. I played the first half of the live stream, not realizing that my backing track wasn't playing.
Nobody can hear it, right?
Nobody could hear the backing track. It's just me riffing senselessly on the guitar. And it's like, so then somebody goes, by the way, if you're playing a backing track, we can't hear it. And so I went into OBS and I hit a monitor thing and turned it, and it came on. And now we hear it. And it's like, well, the backing track's too loud and we can't hear the guitar because I didn't have the guitar going through an interface. It was
Just muted yourself.
yeah. You muted Ed.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm late on this discussion. I was trying.
You
to
muted
figure
yourself,
out
Ed.
how to jump in, but you can't talk about Pantera or Damage Plan or Dimebag without talking about the producer Sterling Winfield.
It's still muted Ed.
Oh, I hit the button on my.
You picked
I've
it up.
got like 5 seconds.
When I picked it up, I muted
Mark,
it.
so sorry, but
Yeah, you're talking
I'm
about
not
Sterling?
muted. I'm not muted.
No, it was Ed. Ed
Now
that
he's
was
taking
muted.
it.
No, but I'm saying is that the guy that produced all that stuff was Sterling. Yeah, he was the engineer at the studio that I trained at.
Mm-hmm.
I trained under him, and everything that Dime and his brother wanted to do. This guy had a producer's hit. He was like the George Martin of that band. And he just dialed him back. And I don't know what's going on, Mark, but I've got like a 20-second delay in my voice.
Okay. Because I'm not hearing any problems here.
Good to me.
It might just be
Yeah.
on the YouTube feed.
Have you got... Did you bump YouTube or anything?
But, well, I'm hearing, but regardless, I'm saying that Sterling made that band. He carved that band. The producer carved the band, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Definitely.
a lot of bands probably, the producers don't get enough credit. Some do. I mean,
Yeah, it's delayed.
You might have to drop out and come back in, Tim, but it sounds like you've probably got a YouTube or something like that open.
I'm going to drop out. It's a 1:45, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm. So hey,
I'll drop out.
Mark,
send me another
good
link.
to chat with you guys for a little while.
Take care, Ed.
Yeah, great to
see you
talk
again.
to you, Ed.
And I'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Definitely, buddy. Take care, man. Yeah, let me just send Tim another link.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'll be back.
Fun and games.
Fair
See,
play.
Hugh just joined us.
Buy a decent sync. Same thing. Mark Tanner, first guitar.
My first guitar was a Yamaha G55. Classical. But after that, the first electric I got was a Anson Japanese Strat copy.
Oh yeah.
Late 70s. Which I still had it. It's worth a lot of money now. The old lawsuit era. There he is, back again.
Hey, I'm back.
No delay now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Oh, Jesus.
Hello? No delay.
Hello. We
No
can
delay.
hear you.
Good.
Yeah.
I have like
Okay.
a 20-second delay. I don't know what's going on, Mark.
Weird.
And you've got nothing else open.
I have
Anything that you use?
no nothing else open, and I've got my. You know what? I'm gonna drop out and go to the chat.
Okay.
So love you
Okay,
guys.
man.
I'll see you in the chat.
You too. See you, man.
18 seconds later.
15
Oh,
seconds
God.
later. Wow.
No idea why. All right, bye.
It's crazy.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's the kind of delay I have if I was running YouTube.
Okay.
I closed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
I'm just running.
thing I see occasionally is if somebody has played with the echo cancellation or something like that in the settings of StreamYard, but the rest of it seems to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Sith, I think Japanese metal is very close to pop. But that is what they do. That is their thing. It's very quick, though. It's what Marty Freeman does now, right? Japanese metal
No idea.
in anime. He does guitar on anime, metal, and yeah. It's 40. Right, Blue?
Take care, Blue.
Okay, man.
If anyone else wants to join, just ping me. Let me know. I'll post the link for you.
Take care, metal. Get some rest, man. Be well.
Here we go. Here's trouble.
Oh, Marshall.
Hey, Marshall. Yeah,
You
you
know,
doing,
man.
man? Love, peace.
Tubes.
You muted, buddy.
He's muted, yeah. There you
I
are.
just unmuted him.
Okay.
He's still.
Still muted. There's that.
Totally love the technical fun that we have on these.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Pew, pew. There he goes.
Yeah, it says you're muted in the stream.
Bad lip reading Marshall style. Make all kinds of stuff up now.
I'm waiting for him to start swearing. Yeah. Priceless.
Really?
Really, there we go.
There he
you
is.
are. There you are. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. StreamYard won't let me switch my microphone over from OBS to my camera mic real easily. You got to do it 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like we were finding the other night.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps on pigging out on whatever's available. Yeah.
And right now also I don't have any headphones on. I'm using my speakers, and apparently there's no delay.
There shouldn't be.
As long as it's quiet enough, there's no problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got you
use
guys.
mine. I don't use a headset either.
Hey, I want to give a thanks real quick to Mr. Blugubrius for
Uh-huh. Oh, did
the
he send you
Texas
that?
T-shirt.
Ah, cool.
Look at all those preamp tubes, man. Woo! The love of 12AX7s.
Uh-huh.
Right on. Been fun to kind of participate in the chat. Lots of interesting subjects, and you guys have covered some really cool stuff tonight.
Oh, cool.
Been fun to.
Just thought we'd fill in some time for people with no place to go. So.
Right. Hello, Sith.
Here we go.
There he's
back right this time.
How's your delay, Tim?
Yeah, I've got something weird going on my end. Maybe I need to reboot because all you guys sound like you're going. That's what I hear.
Oh, are you sure it's the computer and not your brain?
No idea.
Did you restart your iPad?
Restart your router, even your internet.
I'm going to reboot.
Yeah,
and we'll find out.
Yeah, just ping me when you come back up.
Yeah.
Take care, Blue.
Good night.
Alcohol phase mismatch. Oof.
Yeah, I promised myself I wasn't going to drink beer tonight, but I popped one open. What the heck?
Oh. Shit happens.
Hey, man. It's going to be late. Interesting. Let me do this with this. There we go. That's better.
Hey, here's another one.
Oh, Lars.
Good stuff. Yeah. Wait for his phone to catch up.
It's on dial-up, eh? There he is.
Am I coming
hey,
through?
Laws. Yeah, coming through nicely.
Okay, good.
How you going, man?
Oh, Hugh, good news, Hugh. Good news. Oh, then arthritis kicked in. Yeah, I hear you, buddy.
Oh man.
Especially in just one finger in particular.
Yeah.
I'll answer that question when I get a moment, Jack. Thanks.
Sounds like you got your moment, Marshall.
My first guitar was a bass guitar.
Your first guitar was a bass?
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
About a 1961 Framus.
Wow.
Back when they were cheap, when they weren't great quality.
That wasn't like the violin shape body one or something, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was called the Strato bass. Bill Wyman played a Framus.
Okay.
So, but I don't remember. I don't remember the Star bass. I think was his bass, something like that. So,
oh yeah.
They weren't made that well.
Well,
that's always the thing that makes me laugh now is all these, vintage instruments that people are getting so much money for and all the rest of it. And when you look at them, they're actually pretty bad.
Yeah,
they weren't.
I've tried to buy one, and they're like $700, $800, and they all look like garbage. So they're all warped out and pretty bad. So.
Yeah, restoring a guitar like that, an old Kramer or something like that can be a pretty daunting task.
Yeah.
But I know a guy.
Yeah. I think we all do. Yeah.
I get to do that once in a while. I'd like to answer Jack's question because it's kind of cool. My first guitar was I'll wait for Tim to see how he's doing. How you
Sorry,
doing, Tim?
guys. It's just I had to reboot my iPad. Sorry about that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I get to do it. So
Hey, Lars.
Hi, Tim. How you doing?
My first guitar that I ever owned was an acoustic guitar, of course. My mom and my uncle bought it for me, and I had no idea what the brand of it was. It was really cheap, but that was the first one I ever owned. But the first electric guitar I ever played was this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was white originally when I played it. You can see some of the white paint still on it. Literally, this was it, and it would have been 1978 that I played this guitar for the first time, and I would have been 7 years old.
Nice.
And
So, what's the story behind the paint job on that one, Marshall? No
Okay.
whether we've heard that.
Okay, while it's here, I'll give you all a pretty good look at this thing.
Gosh, that
It's
hurts.
got like a interesting inlays and stuff in it. The guy that owned this guitar, his name was Stephen Kyrus, and his house got robbed, and they stole everything. Furniture, televisions, plants, everything. He got home from a vacation, everything in his home was gone. And he went into the closet that this guitar happened to be in the case, and it was up high. For some reason, he had put it away. He went from playing guitar to playing bass. Not to bring that subject up again.
Dude, that's me. That's what I did.
Yeah.
He turned out to be a really fantastic bass player. He played bass in the band with my uncle. Nonetheless, he back in those days, he was a consummate hippie, very, experimental, doing, stuff that people do back when they're doing hippie stuff. And he got pissed, and so he took a belt sander to it and sanded the finish off of it down to wood, and said, "Ain't nobody gonna steal this guitar from me again, because if they do, I'll know which one it is. If I see it anywhere." So he painted it like bright green. Then he sanded all that off of it and painted it red, and then sanded all that off of it and painted it orange, and then sanded all that. I mean, it's been through multiple facelifts. And there's little, on the pick guard, you can see like layers of some of the colors that he's used, and around the edges, you can kind of see that sort of stuff. And ultimately, he got pissed because somebody stole his shit, and that's what he did to the instrument.
It's cool looking.
Yeah, I like
That
it.
is cool looking.
And
So, have you done
kinda-
anything to it, or?
I've
yeah,
done
pickups.
the
are
only
crazy,
stuff I've done to it that would be actual is right here. There's a couple of soldering iron marks on it, and the only reason I did that was for posterity's sake, to say, I did something to it.
Yeah.
But this coin
Marshall,
right here,
those are
What's
stacked
that?
humbuckers. They're stacked single coils.
yeah, no, these are humbuckers, and this is a coil tap.
Right.
So that's why I can use it on such heavy metal stuff, because I've got humbuckers in this thing, but I go like that, and that now it's a Strat.
But they weren't
I've got the best
humbuckers
of
when you
both
got
worlds.
those. They weren't stacked when you got them, right?
No, I put these pickups in it.
Yep.
But as far as the
Really?
appearance of it, I've done nothing. I mean, it doesn't deserve anything more. This is a 1900, I believe, silver dollar, and this is a 1900 Indian head penny.
I have one of those.
Oh, cool.
Right. So it makes the push pull, because you try and pull up on a Fender switch, and it's not so easy when you put an Indian head penny on top of that thing, and boop, it's real easy to get a hold of. So that was that actually used to be on the volume knob. That is a Silver Series $1 bill, and so is that on the headstock.
Nice.
So Well, that's the story behind this. I've refretted this. I did a compound radius on the fingerboard, so it goes from 9.5 to 12 up here. So it's glorious to play. No, and actually, I did swap out the vibrato bar on this thing also. So those are really all the changes I've made to it. I mean, which is quite extensive, I suppose, if you think about it. But that's over a span of 20 plus years I've had this guitar.
Yeah.
So,
40 plus years, yeah.
Well,
and
I didn't
Marshall,
know it.
Dude, what's crazy about that is I wanted to be a guitar player. My parents bought me a Fender Strat.
Yeah.
And then I got into the jazz band in junior high, 70s. And I found out that they had no bass players. So I wanted to be a bass player. So my parents sold my 78 Fender Strat. They traded my Fender Strat, 1978 Fender Strat, for a PV TNT bass amp and a Kent short scale Fender bass copy. And that's what but it all came from a 78 Strat that my parents were able to convert into a PV bass amp and a Fender clone.
Pre-bass instrument.
Yeah.
John, that's a real Fender.
Well, the sad thing is when I joined the band,
Good night, Justin.
The instructor was a former
Justin.
bass player, and he loaned me his fretless Fender. I don't know what that was. It was like a 59 Precision. I don't think it was a Jazz. It didn't have the two pickups. It had one set of alternate pickups. The instructor loaned me his fretless bass because he said, if you're going to learn bass and you're a guitar player, you got to learn fretless bass. So he loaned me his guitar for a year, and then my parents bought me my first fretless bass. It was,
Cool.
It started from
You're
a
fun.
78. It started from that freaking guitar, a 78 Strat that my parents bought for me because I wanted to be a guitar player. Crazy. How we've known each other for so long. Have we not had this conversation? Yeah. Why am I still a bass player? That's my biggest question.
I'll never let it go. I always have. I got 5 basses, nothing fancy, but you know, I just once in a while I got to pull one of them out and
I wish I had more.
Fiddle around with it for a while, you know. So
I need a long scale 5. I like my my short scale. I really like my bass, but I need more.
I'm a short scale guy now. Yeah, I always have been a short scale guy.
Yeah,
the guy that taught me how to do funk bass, the slap bass, in 1981. He's the best guitar player I know. Still the best bass player I'll probably ever know. Just last year during the shutdown in 2020, bought a short scale Ernie Ball something short scale. He's like, dude, you've got to buy a short scale bass. And yeah, I got to do that because I'm going to be.
Vanzini.
Weighs a lot though.
Yeah. Vanzini. Hey, brother, check this out. You might appreciate this one, given what I just saw.
That's a cheap Squire Jaguar bass that the guy converted, put high-end pickups in. Oh, what do you got? A Mustang guitar?
Oh no!
What are we looking at? Oh my gosh! Wow,
that one. That's nice.
What year is that?
Beautiful.
1967.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, my
Wow.
dad bought it brand new. 12 string.
Yeah.
But it's very similar, the offset body styles of your Mustang style bass.
Yeah. Yeah. This is more like I think they call it a Jaguar bass.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just a Squire. But
Yeah.
he even redid the headstock to say Fender on it instead of Squire.
Right.
And then he put some real high end pickup. I got the original pickups too. So $150.
Yeah, I took the original out and I put a Bill Lawrence blade, a mini humbucker.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
With a split coil, which just pulls the split coil pulls the volume out a little, but makes it a bit sharper. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, gives it a little more treble.
Yeah, just a little. Good for when I want to like throw a fuzz on or make it real dirty.
Yeah.
Right. And what is that, Marshall? What do you have there?
Yours is the Yamaha,
Yeah.
Preston. Yeah. This is an Ibanez sound gear. And
I named it Schizo.
It's a pretty inexpensive Ibanez bass, really super light. But the guy that because I wasn't a very experienced bass player, but I was working at a guitar shop at a certain point in my life, and a guy that had played with a little artist named Michael Jackson,
A little artist.
yeah, worked there with us, and he had played with the Michael Jackson band, and I was like, man, I need a bass for my studio, and this dude was a badass, like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went, I said, man, can you find a bass over there? I explained to him what I played, and he went over, and I was like, I want to spend around $500 is what I could afford at the time. And he went over and played all of them, and he walked up to me at the counter and said, buy this. And it's been my bass ever since. I own one bass. That's it. And this is the only one I use.
He played bass with Michael Jackson?
He did.
Yeah, he wasn't Ali Al.
What's that?
Ali Al? That wasn't his name, was it? Oh, okay.
No. He and Jennifer Batten both lived in Portland. So I was close with both of those people. And so it was kind of cool to have that going on. That my claim to fame is that I know Jennifer, like me on the street, she wouldn't call me Marshall. Hey dude, but
yeah,
those are pretty
dude.
That's some pretty
She would
high,
say dude too, I'm sure of it.
Well, hey, my claim to fame is if we could talk about talking, to bass.
Oh, you know the Beatles really well.
Would be Chuck Rainey, and I would encourage all of you to go to YouTube, just type in Chuck Rainey and watch what he did. I mean, the guy was Aretha Franklin, Steely Dan. He was on the Asia record. He lives literally 3 blocks from me.
Oh, was that right?
And
Wow.
We've talked about this.
And he always had special sort of sauce on his stuff, but he still played to the tune.
No. And
always
Chuck,
serviced the song. Yeah.
Chuck is not a soloist. Chuck is a foundationalist. He goes, I provide the song for the songs to be sung. That's how he feels. But talking about gear, we talked about high fret, low fret, light strings, heavy strings, round wound, flat wound, tape wound. We've talked about all that gear, and what he always comes back to me to?
Flat wound.
Play to the song. Just play to the song.
Mm.
The tone will take care of itself. Have your basses there. If you want a song to be spanky, grab round wound strings.
Mm-hmm.
If you want your song to be mumbly, grab flat wound strings. If you want your song to be in the middle, grab tapeworm strings. I'd never heard of tapeworm strings.
Yeah. I have a
and
guy that
he's
has
like-
me wind his
Yeah.
basses with those, man. It's weird.
Well, you could
and
put
he's-
put
yeah.
a pad underneath your bridge. Too. Some of those bridges have a big plate on them.
Yeah.
And there's a pad under them, so there you can get
No.
a rumble out of that.
And you know what's funny, Preston, is what Chuck Rennie did on the Asia record for Steely Dan. He took a piece of foam that came in a package of a guitar pickup. So it was this piece
Those
of foam.
Yeah.
That's what he put under his bridge to deaden his strings.
Because they're hard, they're solid, a little bit more rigid foam.
But they're perfectly sized to slide under there.
Oh, really?
What he told me, he goes, the way I got, because the producers of the Asia record for Steely Dan, those guys they were looking at every frequency that was out of
The pad
whack.
for the Rickenbackers under the bridge.
But
Those-
he played a Fender, and Fenders were notoriously resonant. And so
I think jazz
just
bass
looked
way back
around.
when had something like that, didn't they?
Mhm.
And the
Yeah, my
guitar
jazz
player,
bass had one. I
I
always
think
pulled
it
the
was
plate off.
Larry
Yeah.
Cart
I
or
needed it
somebody
to
just
ring.
changed pickups out. So he grabbed the foam, threw it under his thing, and played the riff. It was that one, which is what gave him the, I guess, appropriate deadening.
Yeah.
But I can say in 40 years of playing bass, I've never deadened my bass. Never.
Yeah.
I get it.
never needed to, but not with what I play. No.
But I play what he
Yeah.
plays. So
Yeah,
I don't
not like-
know.
yeah.
You know.
Huh.
I think basses today are more dead than the early basses. But
No,
I
they
don't know.
they follow the music too rigidly. You're always following the root note with the bass, and it's not necessarily fair to the bassist.
And with
In
analog,
modern music,
you can hear resonant frequencies. So they wanted to use those deadening things to, I don't know,
yeah.
capture the track.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have one of those inexpensive made in China Hofner basses, and that thing, you want to talk about a dead, they've really got a muted tone, but it's really quite useful for when you need something like that,
Yeah, my bass is very, very resonant when I want it to be. Like it's very, I would call it a hot wound, but it's not. It's passive.
Yeah.
It's just a pickup, right? It's not like a bass pickup. It's a mini humbucker, so I can do. It's pretty snappy.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier too. I used to have a Yamaha fretless bass, and I sure do miss having. They are just such great fun to mess about with.
It's the SB35.
Such a melodic.
The
I don't remember.
original
Yeah.
humbucker I took out because it was too muted. I guess
Mhm.
it was old and rusty.
It makes you an instant Jocko,
Yeah.
You wish. You wish.
Instant Jocko
wannabe.
wannabe.
A lot,
anyway.
man.
Lord,
Instant
you
Jocko.
wish. No,
Yeah,
I
Jeannie, I
a
was
bass
going to
player.
ask you a question about your instruments that you're using to record the style of music that you use, and it seems like you often use, or the sound of your guitar is often something that has like an old trapeze type bridge,
Yes.
or
For the jazzy stuff I do on my other channel, not all of that is me, but the stuff that I do, I got about like 10 of those guitars, right? But the one I use most often is one called the De Esperanto, made by Peerless, and I use that because it's got that slightly old school jazz tone to it more so than the others, but. I've got an Eastman that I haven't done a show and tell, and I'm just not happy with the tone of it. But then I recorded with it, and I thought, oh my gosh, it sounds closer. I mean, it's got a P90 in it, but it sounded closer to my old ES 165, my Herb.
For that, Doc.
Somebody.
It
sounds closer to that. So
yeah. I was wondering about to keep things quiet. Do you ever find yourself, because you're not using gain most of the time, your tones are fairly clean and a little edge, and so my curiosity was, when you're recording, have you ever used something to kind of silence those strings that are back behind the saddles?
Nope.
I was asking Lars.
No, I don't. I try to be mindful and not squeak around, but I use all my jazz boxes have flat wounds on them. And so and all my, so if you're talking on the rock and roll side of stuff, you can probably hear me squeak against the strings from time to time. On the jazz side, I just try to be really careful. And I do, when I do record that stuff, I do a lot of punch in recording. I used to do things in one take, or two takes. And I did one, about a year ago or so, and I looked and I finally had it down, and I thought, this is not bad. This is good. I think I'm there. And I looked at it, and there was like 27 punch in points on just right before the lead and through the lead now, and it was like, okay, well, I did it note by note, punching in and punching out, and trying to get the right thing to do done. So I just stay away.
With those styles of guitars, with the equipment amp that you're using, you're not getting any kind of harmonic overtones or anything like that you. No, I'm not playing. In fact, in some of my live Christmas music, I'm going through an E-band most of the time for that live stuff. And you can actually, and it sounds tone-wise sounds pretty good on there, except because it's over here and the camera, which is over there picking stuff up, you can still hear me. I'm playing soft enough, you can actually hear me pick. You can hear that string twang kind of thing. Yeah, because I'm not over. Yeah. That's how low a volume it is sometimes. So.
Right. And Marshall, the whole thing about dampening bass happened when bass started being overdriven in the early 90s. Everything before the early 90s, if you ever saw a bass player using foam or anything to dampen stuff, they were trying to replicate the Motown. Which is a dampened thing. 100%. Everything after that.
James Jamerson,
Yeah, exactly. So, the sad thing is when I was a bass player professionally for 10 years, and when I decided my band broke up, went through a divorce, I got rid of all my basses. Worst decision ever. But
we all have
I managed to
my
basses. I traded 4 basses.
Everybody's allowed to have regrets.
I traded 4 Fender Precision 1970s basses.
Nod, carry on.
Including one a fretless bass. 4 basses. I traded them to custom audio electronics in LA. And I sent all my effects as a guitar player. And they created me this pedal board and the 20 space rack and all that bullshit. And but at the same point,
back then, though,
when I got it back, I landed a gig and did that stuff. But to these days,
I remember there was a bass in the 60s. There's a bass in the 60s.
Best basses for a freaking chorus rat pedal that I never used because I hate chorus. But there went a Fender.
Send it to me. I love it.
73, Fender Precision.
Well, sorry.
For a chorus rack unit that I never used. So it's just.
I look back at I have so many things that I got rid of that are be worth a fortune, I guess now, but I don't regret most of it, but a few things I do. One of them is the Gibson acoustic, identical to yours, Tim. I wish I had that. That's the one guitar. I had a real high-end Taylor, one of those $2,500 things. Sounded great, played great. I don't regret selling it at all. But that Gibson, man, I wish I had that. You know.
I'll never
I
sell
don't
that
know.
one.
I get by. I mean, I play a Yamaha and electric
me too.
acoustic, and it does me fine. But I do miss that.
I played.
I think mine was a 95, 94.
Yeah.
90, something like that.
My guitar, my acoustic guitar, that when I went into my acoustic career, it was that company out of Washington. I can't think of the name. Anyway,
acoustic guitar maker, or
yeah, acoustic guitar maker out of Washington.
Maybe Tacoma.
Tacoma, yes. So I had a Tacoma acoustic, and I had written this volume of music and built a band around it. And so the band was going nowhere, and I hooked up with a guy with a record label, and he wanted to incorporate me. So I tried to. He wanted my band to play with him, and they mutinied. They said, "No, we don't want to be with him. We want to do your music." And I said, "Well, I'm going that way. You guys can do it with me." And so, like a dumbass, I thought I could take my following, play our last show, and then in first set, second set, introduce him, play with him, dismiss my band, and the drummer proceeded to get incredibly drunk, and then
I'll be right back.
After the show, he attacked me, and
like physically,
like no, threw punches at me. Well, I was holding my guitar. Of course, he hit me like twice in the face. He dropped my guitar. When I stepped back, my foot went through my Tacoma.
Oh, man.
Literally through my Tacoma. At that point, no one could keep me away from him.
Yeah.
And that was
those were good guitars. Those were great guitars.
It was a great guitar. I wrote that whole This Human Condition, my solo record, on that guitar. And I literally, my size 12 foot was in my guitar.
There were a lot of guys in Portland that played those, and they were some really great guitar players. And because it was such a locally known, I never acquired one, but
their import brand was called Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
I had one of those, and they were actually, for an import guitar, they were a cut above most anybody else, I thought. But
yeah,
I think they sold to somebody and then went out of business or something.
Yeah.
Terry Robb that we were talking about earlier, Marshall. He was the guy. He would go around to different stores. I saw him at 2 or 3, 4 different kind of show and tells for Tacomas.
Yeah.
But in short, so my foot goes through my guitar. My band is dead. I have no more acoustic guitar. I'm still a songwriter. And my girlfriend that I just started dating 3 weeks prior, which is my wife now, said, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "I'll sell a guitar and buy another acoustic, And she goes, "No, let me buy you a guitar." So I went to Guitar Center to buy a replacement guitar for the one that my foot went through. I still have that guitar, and I'm going to do a video on that on my channel about my guitar story. That's a great, because I can actually bring on the guy in video, the drummer that actually attacked me, that destroyed the guitar. He and I have repaired fences, and that's going to be a great video because it's like, dude, But
you have to send it to Marshall to fix, mate.
Oh yeah. So I go to Guitar Center in Dallas into the pro shop, and the guy that I've played in bands with for years is been there for 20 years, and I tried out all the guitars in like the $700 to $900 range, and nothing spoke to me. He's like, "We got to come to this room." Well, that room is behind glass, and every guitar behind that glass is like $2,000. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, trust me, I've got a guitar for you to try." And so I got in there and I tried the Martin Mahoganies, loved them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pay $3,000 for this. And then he goes, no, you got to try this one. He kept trying to push this fucking Gibson with a beautiful stuff. I'm like, I could see the tag hanging down from the neck. It said $4,400. I'm like, there's no fucking way. He goes, no, trust me, play this guitar. So I played the guitar. I'm like, God damn you. Seriously, it played me. He goes, how much can you spend today? And my thought was like $800. So I looked at my girlfriend and she goes, $2,000. He goes, sold. I'm like, the ticket says $4,800. What the fuck are you talking about? Freak. What a freak. Yeah, so he sold it to me. She bought it for me, and that's why that guitar, when we do our series, Mark, that guitar will go to her because she bought the guitar. But all my Gibsons and my custom shop Strats, we got to figure out where they go. But yeah,
I've never.
I got to tell you, every time I pick up that guitar, it just plays me. It's just.
I haven't gone through instruments like that. Every guitar that I own right now, I pretty much had most of my life, and I haven't. It's funny to not funny, but to me it's almost sad to hear stories like this where, Tim and Vanzini and I don't know, Mark seems like he holds on to his instruments pretty tightly, and I think Preston's the same way. It's not like I haven't rolled a bunch of guitars. I get one and it's still hanging on my wall.
Well, that's us now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through a whole lot of them.
I traded 17 basses and a 1968 Fender Rhodes. I traded a 1968 Fender Rhodes for a Boss octave pedal.
What?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Wow.
This is 1983 when
it was before prices took off.
Vintage instruments were bullshit.
Yeah.
I traded
give them away.
This is the one with the stage speakers, where it sits on the speakers and everything.
Sits on the speaker.
Yeah. I traded a 68 Fender Rhodes for a 1981 Boss octave pedal.
All right.
That should happen.
Yeah.
I will never get rid of any of my
no one
instruments.
outside of a casino show or something like that would play them back then. Yeah.
God.
Yes, Seth. Oh no, I did that. But that was 1981. We didn't know that there was going to be a resurgence of vintage instruments. I just knew that I had all this shit, and I had a gig that needed an octave pedal. I had no money because I was a college student, so I traded it.
I've told the story before. I bought my oldest brother's my oldest brother's 62 Strat for $125 and played it for a few years and sold it for $150. It's like $25, just like that.
Good trade.
Vanzini, what's and this kind of interesting question, you might find it in it, but what do you have one that you could call your number one, or do you have two that you could call?
Well, I think on the jazz boxes, I love that D Esperanto. I love all my guilds.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But in terms of the Fenders, it's very odd that I have American Fenders. I have one particular made in Mexico Fender that I just dearly love. You know, actually, maybe a couple of them. So nothing really.
There's not one that you go.
But I'm real weird.
I do, but it's out of commission.
If I'm playing something country, it's going to be a Telecaster. If I'm playing something more surfy, bluesy, it's going to be a Strat, or maybe something with a humbucker. I mean, one of my best guitars is a Gibson Nighthawk. That is worth $750.
Nancy Wilson,
she's got the Epiphone model out now, and
Yeah, but it's a miniature. It's a miniature Les Paul. Yeah.
With
A
a
friend of
with a
mine
20
had one stolen
with a 20,
recently.
25 and a half inch scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that thing sounds great and plays great, and you know, it's got the Gibson name on it. It was $750, so I bought it used. It was in like new condition, and it still is. But you know, that thing's a heck of a guitar. But I did one on a Schecter a while back that I picked up at a guitar show years 10 years ago at least, and you know, that thing is just probably the best playing guitar I have that I got for $175. You know,
Yeah.
But in terms of the neck and playability, it is just a delight. You know.
Yeah.
So I always say my favorite guitar is the one I got in my hand. So
that's
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as Telecasters go, I had a 1978 Tele with a maple neck, which I hate maple necks. I won't tell you what I traded that for because you'll all just, you know, unfriend me. Then I had a 1983 Fender Elite Tele. That's the one that had the active pickups.
Oh,
awesome. And I traded that out. Lost all my Teles, and then about 3 years ago, I saw on Facebook this Michael Kelly, you know, guitar.
Yeah.
And it was a Tele. It was like $175. I'm like, well,
I've seen that.
What the hell? I'll just buy that. And Mark's telling me that the Michael Teles are now worth a lot of money. I can tell you that's the best Tele I've ever owned, including my 73 Tele. It's just, it's perfectly intoned.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So maybe the gods looked at me and said, "You traded a Fender Rhodes for a vodka pedal."
So we'll give you a good cheapie.
We'll give you this
Stuff just wasn't worth anything.
You blessed way too many people for really dumb reasons. Here, have this. You're good now.
It's not like I was made of money either.
No.
I was going through divorces, and when you go through divorces, you get rid of shit so you can't have to pay for it. But that's another story.
Hey, Simon. Good to see you, man.
Neither have I, Sith. It was always a contention with my dad.
Hi, Simon. Good to see you. It must be
the rock professor in the house. Yeah.
Early morning for Simon.
And to address Sith Vasquez, I haven't played country. You know what?
I teach it though, so technically I guess I have.
I grew up in country, hating country. And then I discovered, and I would encourage you to go down a YouTube rabbit hole of and I draw a blank.
Chad Atkins.
No.
No.
There's some really good new country players that
new guy. Okay,
yes, their songs are basic country.
Yeah, for sure.
But their music is so good. Jason Isbell. Just type in Jason Isbell, watch our live show, and
even
then
check out Case Urban.
Yeah. Well, of course, Keith Urban. Keith Urban is like the John Mayer of country, but Chris Stapleton, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But go down the Keith Urban thing and just search for a song called
I've had
Vampires.
to teach a couple of them.
A song called Vampires by Jason Isbell.
Young students want to learn all the new stuff, so
you're dead.
Yeah, I wasn't raised with country at all, and so it wasn't. It wasn't until I started hearing guitar players that were country, and I still don't like the mostly lyrics and singing. I just like those country guitar players.
Oh, they're really good.
Out,
Absolutely.
So I'm a big Albert Lee fan.
And Brent Mason played on a couple of your songs.
I've got 2 recorded tracks of him in Band of the Box. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have a client that owns a Brent, let me rephrase that, owned a Brent Mason signature instrument
Tele,
and he returned it. He brought it in to me,
Really?
and I did
Yes.
I did my darndest to set that thing up right, and it just never felt good.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, it was several trips into the shop, and this guy's a very discerning, very well-rounded guitar player,
Yeah.
and he just couldn't. That
Couldn't get
telly, he
along.
just
Wow.
could not. Both of us couldn't get it worked out. No matter what I did, it would just not
Work.
There's the occasional lemon.
Yeah.
And Marshall, my
Yeah.
buddy in Nashville, Gary Alexander, and if you're watching, dude, chime in to the comments. He lives in Nashville, plays at Telly's,
I live in LeGrand.
bought that guitar that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it work. Switched out all the electronics to make it work. Ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah.
The only Brent Mason Telly that's going to sound like Brent Mason is the custom shop one,
He's
and
playing.
you got to drop
Yeah, the
$4,000.
one he's playing.
Yeah.
But he dropped the $1,000 Brent Mason, and it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
that's not saying anything bad about the Brent Mason signature guitars, because I'll rarely say anything bad about any guitar, because I've taken
Or
a
any signature.
free guitar and turned it into magic. But that one, boy, it was really a tough one to get right. And this guy owns other Telecasters that he loves.
The only
Same
telly
here.
that I
Yeah.
want to try is Lamb of God's. What's his name?
Oh,
Adler.
Well-
I think it. Oh no. Frick, Slipknot.
oh, the Mustang. The,
Did he
Slipknot.
play
Yeah,
with Johnny Cash?
he's got a custom telly. But when you think of tellies, you guys like singles, P90s or something like that, maybe the slant single. I'm going for a humbucker. And that's not a Telecaster. I could do that with this.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's a Fender.
Yeah.
There's a Fender custom telly that's got a set neck and two humbuckers and
Yeah,
comfort
I mean,
cars.
The
As soon as
thin
you put a
lines have
humbucker in it. Oh,
humbuckers.
that's it. Jim Root.
No.
Jim Root's telly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
nice instrument.
I've heard
Right.
I've heard of those. I've not.
It's we
Yeah.
have a. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say my latest telly was that Player Plus Nashville telly, which comes probably as close to a Brent Mason as I'm going to get.
Oh yeah.
three
Right.
pickups in a
Yeah.
telly, and that thing is just amazing for the for the money. I mean, they really put in an effort for those. It's made in Mexico, and it's plays as well as my made in a USA ones. So
Right.
Crazy
But what
though,
makes-
the tellies with the they've been around for so long, and they normally the most standard guitar that you're ever going to see out there. Yet just about every single one of them is different.
yeah,
when
Yeah.
you pick it up.
so many variations.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Well,
But Lars, the Mexican made Brent Mason telly,
Uh-huh.
the custom shop Brent Mason telly works off of the blend control. That's what makes it brilliant. Right?
That's really the unique part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just one. The second blend control blends the other pickup into the middle.
Oh.
The
okay.
Mexican one has one blend control, and that's all you have. And you'll never
Yeah.
get the Brent Mason sound.
Yeah. That's why
So
I
you
just
could buy
no blend
you could buy
control on
a
mine at all.
Mexican one and get it rewired so that the two
Oh, that's
controls
good.
blend, and you'll be good. That's what my buddy in Nashville came to the conclusion, is that he bought the Mexican one, and it was.
It's got
He
all
actually
that
got
harness.
he knows Brent and played his guitar.
We have an
This-
ongoing joke at our
this
shop,
thing you-
given the fact that I work on so many guitars. And what's amazing is that people will bring Stratocasters in and they want humbuckers in them, and they'll bring Telecasters in and they want humbuckers in them, and people are doing everything they can to take this magical design of a guitar that's been used by so many great guitar players and turn it into anything but that fucking guitar. It's kind of
No, I
funny
agree.
how guys are wanting to do all that stuff. Now the shape of the guitars, there you go. Right. First in the pudding. You know?
It's not the shape.
Yeah.
It's the make of the guitar.
Yeah,
Not an
yeah.
offender.
And if you look at Jim Root, and thank you, John, for that. I couldn't remember. I worked on a Jim Root signature Mustang, and it was, or whatever, Jagmaster or whatever it was. Great guitar. You know, it had humbuckers in it. Yeah, there's another one. You know,
This was a Roadstar.
Yeah.
My
Sith,
first guitar.
Do you? I'm going to ask Sith. Do you own a John 5? That's a model. If it made me play like him.
Oh
No,
made me play like
we're
him,
asking Sith.
Oh, John 5 is. Oh.
Yeah, he's something. Yeah.
Well, the humbucker single option on tellies has been around for a long time when they put that humbucker in the neck position, which I'm assuming yours probably has that.
Mine does, but I moved the original humbucker that was in the bridge to the neck.
To the neck.
And put a new humbucker in for at the bridge. DiMarzio deactivator.
Yeah. I don't own a telly.
I do. Humbuckers were never meant to be high gain. They just weren't.
I have too many.
You know?
Oh, Bruce Springsteen come to mind. Of course, he didn't use a lot of high gain stuff, but
he's all low gain.
Famous
He's all
telecasters in the history of music. Yeah. And you know, I altered my Strat because I was playing and the only reason I altered that Strat was because I was playing in a band that was a cover band. And I'd have to go from a Led Zeppelin tune to a tune by what's her name? Oh my goodness,
Morissette.
No, well, no.
Something much more mellow.
Yeah, the other one from the '80s.
Pat Benatar.
Anyway, I have to go from a song that I was playing a humbucker sound to a single coil sound, and I wanted to accomplish that without having to swap over to my Strat, and my Strat had single coils in it at that point. And you know, that was why I altered it. But
Mine did too.
Push of a button, I can go from a pissed off
HSS.
Les Paul type sound to a Strat with one, and so the versatility in that, it's great. And not Debbie Gibson, nice. Although I'm sure that there was a Strat used on one of her songs. Well, there was a guitar used on one of her songs, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, Marshall, I want to address that. I had like a 1978 Fender custom Les Paul that I lost in my first divorce, and I went through the 80s, which was a Strat era. So I got to the 80s through the 90s into the, what do we call it, the aughts, you know, and still couldn't capture that sound of that Les Paul. I finally, I've got, you know, humbucker, super Strats, I've got all that stuff. It wasn't until last year when I fucking bought that Les Paul, that 1960s era Les Paul, that I have the sound that I was looking for 20 years.
Yeah.
It just comes from whatever magic happens between that simple design.
Yeah.
And that simple design exists in my Strats. It just doesn't sound like it.
Well, we don't have to discuss tone woods because I realize that a lot of people think that that's BS, but
it's not.
Being a luthier, it's not BS.
No.
And, you know, Glenn Fricker can suck it at this point. But
he's an engineer. He doesn't know shit. He's not a guitar player.
There is that, though. And it could be from where the piece of wood from the tree came that guitar was built from. And there are guys that, you know,
oh my God,
want that sort of thing where they want the top piece of wood out of a tree because it's lighter than the stuff down at the bottom. They want a less heavy guitar, things like that. But I totally get that, Tim.
Sure.
Marshall, that's like saying I only want a guitar where the tone wood was gathered from a tree where the embryos of unborn children were placed against for worship. That's bullshit. It's the tone wood. It's the wood.
Do you know of such a place?
Ask my first wife. She was a witch.
You can, you know, this sort of subject.
I'm being kind, Mark.
has
Sorry.
been-
It's all right. I've got a mute button here if I need it. Yeah.
No,
this sort of
say the C
subject
word.
has been discussed by a lot of very famous guitar players. Paul Gilbert, for one, who's been an Ibanez artist his entire career, and they did the Fireman guitar for him, and they've done a bunch of other RG style guitars for him. And he prefers the wood out of the top of a tree, and he says it boldly.
But you're talking about a guitar player that has to wear hearing protection because his hearing is completely damaged.
So what? Listen to him play.
No, I'm just saying that don't pick a guy that chooses tone that has been, on record with hearing damage. That's not helping. I love the guy.
So I would give my example. I tend not to believe, we probably don't want to go too deep on that, but I tend to not believe in all of that on one hand. On the other hand, I had a simple Gibson ES 165, single pickup, hollow body, jazz box, all laminates, right? Single cutaway. And I have been chasing that tone ever since I sold it. Right. And I can't find it in any other. I mean, I've tried, I don't know how many Ibanez guitars.
I don't know how many of you watched that pedal show.
I do.
I've seen it a few times. Yeah.
It was an interesting discussion they had not that long back, where they kind of sidestepped the tone wood debate in a lot of ways, but they were talking more about it being like a feedback loop of it's not so much what's actually going into your amplifier and out through PA speakers and all the rest of it to the audience. It's actually the feel of playing that particular guitar and the way that then makes you play.
Saying it's kind of saying it's for us, right, as players. More than it is for sticking it into their desk and manipulating it and doing whatever you're doing. As I always said, if you ask the crowd, did they like the guy going through the Dumble amp or the PV Bandit? They did go what?
Could you tell this is mahogany,
Marshall,
or could you tell
Marshall and Mark? That's
basswood?
the baseline of guitar. Is that you could. I unfortunately learned this lesson in like 1984 when I was a bass player in a band, and I finally wrote a song where the lead guitar player was going to switch and play bass with me, and I finally got to play on this guy's awesome rig. And you know what I sounded like? Me. It comes down to the fact that tone woods definitely do have something. And Marshall, I apologize if I was disregarding your affection for Paul Gilbert. I think he's fantastic. But ultimately, I don't think it's tone woods that creates your tone. It's your fingers. It just is.
Well, that's a generalized statement that you can say about anything, and we all know that. You'll never sound like me, Tim. And
no, I won't. On your guitar rig.
But here's my one big argument towards tone wood and making guitars sound different. I own two different Les Pauls. They're 2 years apart. They're the exact same model with the exact same components, same pickups. Built the pickups came from the exact, potentially same day they were wound, right? Okay. One has a maple top, one has a mahogany top. That's the only difference. Zero. There's nothing else different about them. Same machine head, same frets, everything. But when I hit that black Les Paul through a clean amplifier and record it. Volume crank. There's no discrepancy. I don't have 8 of them that I can test.
Right.
Hit a major C chord. Listen, look. Do the exact same thing with the red one. Listen. Maybe it's the color, like Jack White.
I'm sure it's color. It's pickup coloration.
The two guitars sound
Tone
different,
polish.
and they have the identical pickups. They're set up identically. I mean, I set them up myself. I know where it's at. So,
and what's different about the tone qualities that you can?
The maple guitar has a brighter top end. It has more top end than the black one, the mahogany top. I'm sorry, the mahogany top. The maple top it's a brighter sounding guitar.
It's actually,
and that's the only difference between the two of them, literally.
I think
we're talking small steps here.
Right.
We are.
Exactly.
Very, very subjective.
it's actually what Doc
The
said there
audience
was
will never know. The audience will never know.
What Doc said there was actually quite interesting. Going like, I challenge you to show me a set of pickups that aren't slightly microphonic.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can contribute to that as well.
Well, I think we all know Pete Thorne here, probably.
Yep.
And he said something really interesting regarding
this.
He's
big on tone woods too.
Well, and he said, you can't convince me. It blew me away because what he was talking about was left field for me. He said, you can't convince me that it's not real. He said, I can tell by the amount of sustain. And that's
different. That's not.
And to me, that's not. That's right. That's right. Exactly what I said.
That's the sustain has to do with how hard it is.
I had never thought
how
of
long your
sustain as
ring.
tone.
The older my guitar gets, the longer it sustains for.
Yeah. So to him, that was an important thing. Not the actual. Is it bassier or top
Absolutely.
end?
And that's where I think the brightness comes from. What you're talking about.
I know that's where it comes from.
Higher
proof is in the pudding, man. I'll play it for you.
Well, it's a sustain, not a frequency change.
But there is. It's
not the electronic. That actually does come
subtle,
into it,
right?
Yeah.
The subtleties would be so minute. The only difference would be the number of seconds that string will ring out.
Well, I go back to Glenn Fricker, and that says, put it to a scientific test. Don't put it to what other people say.
Yeah.
I know.
He did too, but I didn't like it. He did.
I still like my approach the best, and that is plug the darn thing in and
play it.
Does it sound good?
Right. I'm not complaining. If I played Tim's Les Paul, it would sound like me playing Tim's Les Paul, and if I played, Vanzini's Kramer, it would sound like me playing Tim.
Yeah, Vanzini's
Kramer.
Got a maple neck with a rosewood front.
I went to Pete real quick, but you mentioned Pete, and I do know Pete.
Yeah.
And I will say this.
I thought it was an interesting statement.
Yeah, it is. But he and I have had a conversation, and our conversation, our area of I may be wrong, and you may be right, existed on this one bubble. And the bubble is tube amps versus modeling. He said to me, I don't care what guitar I play through modeling, we're all in the same world. If you go through a tube amp, it's all tone wood. So that's the one thing I had to say when I was peeing. I was like, wait a minute, Pete, I've heard Pete say that. And about tone woods, but I've also had a conversation with him, and he's got videos about this when he was doing the Pod Go and the Helix and all that stuff. When it comes to modeling, tone woods don't really have a big say in it.
There's a lot of electronics between the pickup.
It's the pickups, it's basically between a single coil and a good humbucker. The tone woods don't have a lot to say about it. If you go to his PT 100 amp, if you go through a Marshall, dude, tone woods have something to say about that. It's just the nature of modeling is a generalization that modeling is good for, which means you could take a $150 guitar, throw it through a Helix or a Kemper or whatever.
Like $1,000. But not necessarily.
And if you start talking string gauges, I'll time you out, all right?
But Pete was one of the people that said that
I'm not going to apologize.
If you're going to record or play through a modeler, your tone wood, you don't have to take your $4,000 Gibson on tour if you're going through a Helix. Take a $200 knockoff because it's going to sound the same. He's got videos on this. Watch them, you know.
And the IR.
I watch them all.
The IRs would make a big difference.
That's my only thing about that. When you throw up the Pete Thorne thing, I'm like, dude, wait a minute.
What? I just thought
that's not exactly what he said.
Well, at the time I was listening, he was talking about the sustain, which I have.
He said that as well. Like he's talked about this a few times.
That's just a whole different way of thinking.
Watch a Sunday show every Sunday religiously.
Yeah, but watch this video on the Helix.
I haven't seen him in a long
Kemper.
time. Yeah.
Watch it on the Quad Cortex. He always says the same thing. He's like he'll try cheaper guitars on those demos, and it's like this unit is so good. The tone woods
he's
don't
really
matter anymore.
good too, man. Like,
yeah,
he could make Elastic sound good.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I don't grab a guitar because it's made out of maple because it sounds brighter. The differences are so tiny.
Yeah,
they're for a personal subjective feel.
Yeah,
really.
Or a video. You know, whatever the case might be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you want to go down a real rabbit hole and you're talking about whether you're using it in a studio or playing it live as well.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so different. So different.
Yeah, it can get deep. It already did. It got really.
Well, hey, I've got a question for all you guitar players. What the fuck is up with the little strap at the end of your headstock that mutes strings? Lukather doesn't play with those.
I don't have any of them on mine.
Why are you guys using those?
It's high gain amps. If you play with a lot of gain on a guitar, the harmonic
bring them out. You can hear it in a recording.
But I record with high gain amps. I'm
sorry. Preston was going to answer that question.
You're talking about up here, right?
Yeah.
On the headstock. Those little Velcro straps.
I've seen them. I never. Jazz players used to oftentimes have something. I mean, Herb Ellis had a whole thing.
A lot of the guys have them on the nut.
I don't need it on this. It's just for color.
Because they don't want open strings.
Open strings.
Learn to palm mute.
No, I'm just curious. I'm just asking.
If you're playing a lot, they will resonate. It will ring out, and you'll hear a harmonic sound pick up if you're recording, especially a high gain or.
I've not had that, but okay,
that is 100% it. It's a mute.
And so you just mute them, and then you play away, and it's gone.
And it actually gets picked up by the pickup.
It picks up. Yeah, the pickup will pick it up.
So it mutes resonant loose strings that are resonating when you're playing something else and not meaning to play
because the nut and these will free the string, and you're not touching them. You're down.
Right, of course. Well, you're fretting above it. So
so just put something on it, and it's good. No, only on high gain, really fast play. Anything that moves the strings back and forth beyond this nut.
It's probably more
the open
more
strings, right?
Or even whammy, anything that will cause these to move.
My question is, why don't you just work on that technique to mute those strings?
But also more particularly on something that's got a Floyd.
It's all about that gain.
Mean.
Texas, Tim's never plugged into a Mesa dual rack. Obviously.
Dude, have you not watched my videos? I've got 4 Mesas in my garage. That's all I played through. And Marshall Silver Jubilee.
But when you're
Some
playing
of-
a clean tone or you pulled a lot of the gains out, then you're not going to have those high harmonics that these little short string gauges will do. These little short.
Some of that also
areas.
is with things with Floyds and things
Oh,
that
yeah,
have got
yeah. 'Cause they're
locking
short.
nuts, locking
The little
nuts on
tiny
them,
nut.
so you
Yeah.
can actually get slack in between the nut and the
Yeah.
and your tuning pegs,
Yeah.
Wow.
because
Well,
you're not tuning using your
Strum the strings above the nut on a Gibson Les Paul
Or one
and
of
listen to
these.
what that sounds like, and don't think that they're not moving while you're playing. And
No, I
when
do
you're
them for country
recording,
licks.
what's
I've
that?
been behind the nut.
What's
Yeah.
Yeah, behind the nut, between the
Behind the
machine
nut.
heads and the nut. They move, and even when you hit an open string, if you hit an open G string, if you had a microphone on that string above the nut, there's going to be sound coming from that, and your pickups are hearing that. So it's all a matter of getting rid of that and being able to play the guitar that you love to get a sound that you want without any extra noise.
So is it compensation, Marshall, for compression?
No, compression would make it louder. And it's not a technique
Exactly.
issue.
What you're doing is you're suppressing the
you have gain, so you already have compression. If you put compression on a high gain guitar, that's stupid. It's foolish.
Yeah,
it's
you might
almost
lose
it's
no. I'm talking
completely
about
unnecessary.
recording. I'm not talking about guitar amp compression. I'm talking about recording compression, where it brings up all the noise in the guitar. I'm curious. I know one of the best guitar players in Dallas Fort Worth.
Well, the whole point is to not add extra sounds. You get rid of them.
Yeah, you get
right.
Okay, so get rid of them
Yeah,
before you put them in.
I've never
So
had
my
it,
question
but
is,
but
why
I don't
does
play
Steve Lukather never use that?
super high gain.
But he didn't need to because he wasn't
High gain? Oh, motherfucker.
like
Mother
that.
trucker, sorry. He's a high gain player.
They're pretty,
man.
No, he's gone on rants. I don't know if you saw his rants about these things. He's got an attitude against that. He's like, dude, don't put a strap across your head.
I know with string
Mute your
tees,
shit.
I wouldn't use them because the string tees make those strings even shorter. I wouldn't need it, right? He uses strats a lot. They use string tees. Yeah. So don't need it.
That was my
probably.
question.
Am I guessing
know.
right?
So,
it's probably the higher strings that do it more.
Any like long ones, right? So I don't need them.
Yes.
But
was the answer great, Lindsay?
Okay.
Yeah.
And Preston, my question to you is, I have to explore
I've never had it.
high gain music because of Marshall. Do I need to start learning how to use that? Because I don't do the heavy gain. I don't do the stuff that Marshall loves, and I want to send him something clean. My truth is I've never used one. I've never talked to someone that used one. So that's my question.
Yeah.
Why are you using them? I understand what they're required for. They
On the other hand,
resonant strings, but
it doesn't hurt anything, does it?
No.
Absolutely.
I think it would hurt sustain.
You think it might? Yeah.
Because
I personally
probably
play with a lot of open notes.
I can see how that would
dampen that.
I could probably play every lead that I've ever played without a guitar pick, but it adds to the
attack.
Yeah, it's part of the sound of that, and if I hadn't used a guitar pick on that solo, it would have sounded different when I recorded it.
But I would argue, Marshall, that strap, that Velcro strap, is not designed to add, it's designed to decrease. So what exactly do you want to decrease?
But it's only decreasing some slight high frequency stuff that comes from above the nut.
Strings
resonant
along the whole.
No, and it's more harmonic stuff than it is anything.
Yeah.
It's not really rattle.
Hear it, so you would have
I'm
to
with the
have
dog
really
paw,
good
man.
recording
This
system to even need it.
And dudes, I'm totally ready to buy some on Amazon tomorrow. My question to you is,
dude, you could use an
elastic.
elastic.
Do I need to buy one?
A sock.
Just grab a sock.
You don't need to buy it.
You got some blue tape. I mean, I literally I have a
you
roll of
don't
blue
need to do
tape
any
on
of
my
that.
wall that's always
Look
there
at the chat.
for this
They got to
reason.
be chiming on
Tear a
this.
piece of tape off and put it
Gaff
over the
tape.
strings. Yeah, done. And
That
now I
would
can
work,
record
yeah.
for hours and not have that noise going. You can take a piece of paper and just wad it up and like
We put foam under the strings and work. Yeah.
Yeah, this
I've
learning's
never-
hard.
in 45 years of recording, I've never found a need for this, but I see
look
it
at
on all these guitar players. So I'm
Well, look at the
asking, what the
videos that are
fuck?
available on
It was my
YouTube from
nuts,
guys
I
like
thought.
Tosin Abasi and
Well,
even
Yep.
you know, Lamb of God, you know, heavy bands like that. I can't say that I've ever seen a video of Dimebag with one of those on his guitar, but every video you see of him, he's playing live, and you know.
No,
but-
no, I can tell you, Dime, he didn't care about that. They thought extra harmonics were cool. So
yeah, he wanted all
They had
that.
a punk setting to them. So
Stuff is, and I honestly have only started recently doing that. And when I say that, it's probably in the last 10 years. When I say recently, of actually muting that stuff above the headstock, because I didn't.
Yeah, I
think I
don't.
realized it.
I don't. I've never needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never
draw-
understood
use a
jazz
lot of
guys putting them
gain.
on the first fret. Even, you know, that I would think you would just
Oh,
learn to
yeah.
kind of palm mute if you're going to hit an open string or something. But
exactly.
I like an open string tone, so I never
Yeah.
used it. I tried it a couple times, but
I would never do
get
it.
used to it.
And to be honest, I reckon a lot of it is you know, it looks cool. Well, yeah, that's what I think.
It looks
Yeah.
cool.
But see,
That's right.
I'm a recordist, so I don't care what looks cool when I'm recording something. My
Yeah.
curiosity
But
was
it's one of those things that, you know, somebody did, and yeah, it solved a problem for somebody that had the problem, and
I
then
think the
everyone
problem
went like,
is high
"Hey, that's
gain.
pretty cool." Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
precisely
think
what
the problem
happened.
is high gain, and
Somebody
the
had a
truth is,
7-string guitar, and it's got the really long one.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And that's the
Just
one that was
just
really just went
take a
with it.
slow trip through my playlist of my videos, and
Mhm.
you won't see that problem. But I'm still curious because
Well, you
Marshall,
have perfect technique, Tim. That's the whole.
I do not, dude. I've got
Come
good
on,
technique for
man.
what I do.
I do not.
My question is pertinent because you and Mark are throwing me some shit that's high gain and heavy, and I don't
Yeah,
ever do that. So now I'm seriously curious about that because
Yeah,
I don't
I-
want to just be the bass player for Mark Tanner and Marshall Turner. I would like to throw some guitar in.
yeah. I think we have to keep that in mind. That, you know, at the levels I play at with the light overdrive I use sometimes is not the same as real super high gain. You know, and
Exactly.
it maybe holds a different set of rules. The other
Which is
night
my
on
question,
the
yes.
Tone King, he was talking about I use a Electro Harmonics dehumbuger for 60 cycle hum, and he
Oh,
said,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
I hate."
yeah.
He said, "Oh, I hated that. It had so many artifacts." And I said, "Mine has no artifact stuff at all going on." Well, he plays at a
What's
much
he playing
higher.
through?
Yeah, he plays through one of those big amps that he has.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, probably one of the slow or Soldano something.
Yeah,
One of
you
the
know,
highest
and
gain
I'm
ones.
playing through at best in Vox AC10 or something, you know. So
Right.
you know,
Can't play mandolin though.
and
Yeah,
that's
I don't-
probably the difference. I hadn't thought of that when he said that, but I thought, well, that probably makes all the difference in the world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Dogpaw, you're right. I still can't play through a mandolin either. I'm still waiting for Mr. Rock to play through that goddamn mandolin.
It looks so
I
pretty.
told him, I said he's gonna play a Metallica song and call it, you know, Mentalin or whatever it is. But
Good
just
night.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mandolinica.
yes, that's what it was. Mandolinica. Yeah.
Take care, Marshall.
Yeah.
Peace, man.
Oh, Marshall's heading out. Okay, see you, Marshall.
And I've got 5% left on my ears, so
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna chime off as soon as they jump off. But Boba Fett, I don't know what he means by that. Yeah.
You
I
lost me,
love
John.
talking to you guys because it was not an obnoxious question. Yes, my issue with those guys that use those Velcro things at the end of the frets is like, well, why can't you just fucking damp your strings? It's called technique.
Mm.
But I dug into it a little bit this week, Mark, and I found out that apparently high gain amps do have sympathetic frequencies.
They do
Mhm.
more.
Um,
Sometimes they have to cut strings off and just play 2 or
Yeah.
3 for solo.
which I don't play that kind of music. So my question,
Mm.
because not because I have any songs that I need to play high gain,
Mandolin, not Mandalorian.
it's because that I'm doing some new collaborations with Mark and Marshall, and they're high gain, and I don't just want to be a bass player. So if I'm going to play, some guitar on high gain, do I need one of those?
Nah.
And that's what exactly
you
what I
don't.
said in the end
No,
was that really somebody did it as a solution to a problem that they
Yeah.
were experiencing at the time. The internet and the guitar playing
Everybody
world
else
got hold of it, and everyone went like, "Oh, I need a sweatband on the top of my guitar."
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a sweatband so I can tap without ringing too many notes.
Mm.
Well,
The only time I've
touch
touch guitar had a lot to do
that
with
was
it.
part of it because
Yeah,
you could pull it down, right?
in my
Onto
career,
the neck.
the only time I've ever needed to have help with keeping a sympathetic note from ringing was on my second Dirty Helen record, and I actually used the studio intern to come
To
in,
hold it?
stand next to me, and as soon as I went to a fretting thing, and I'm standing in front of a double stack
I've seen that.
Marshall Silver Jubilee, I said, when I do these things, just reach up and grab the first 2 strings, because
Yeah, they mute
I was
it.
not a tapper, and the first 4 bars I was doing a whole Eddie Van Halen thing, which I don't do. I was sloppy with. So after we did like 3 passes, like, dude, those
Get a
low
lot of
strings,
sympathetic ring
those
outs
strings
if
are
you don't
ringing
tap
out.
right.
So I said, "What's your name?" He goes, "My name's Kevin. Get in here," into my
Yeah.
guitar booth.
Hold
And I
this.
went to that. I said, as soon as I start playing this, just grab those first 2 strings and hold them. And he did it. Went to the record. It was awesome. If this Velcro thing could have done it, that would have been cool.
And it would have.
Instead of
Snowball, I think
paying
a
this
lot
guy
from that
Whataburger
would make
for
it
4
useless.
hours. And my ears just went out. Damn it!
Uh-oh.
I got one, and he's going.
And John, I agree with you. Yeah, if it works for them, that's fine. Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. We can
Sure
hear you.
can.
Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Cool. I can't hear you, so I'm just gonna say, thanks, Mark, for setting this up.
No worries,
Hope you
man.
get better.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Yeah, this
any
was
of you
fun.
guys
Yeah.
because my ears are gone. Love you guys, and I will check you later.
Okay, we'll see you.
Take care,
Good
man.
talking.
Love you,
Good
Preston.
talking to you, Tim.
Respect you, kind sir. Great Benzini.
You too.
And buddy, I love you, man.
Cheers, man.
If you could hear any of that, that's cool.
Yeah,
See you
we
later.
heard
hear
you.
it.
Take care, man. And the noise is gone.
I think you're probably right, Dogpaw. If you had perfect pitch, you'd go zonkers on guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got one of my best friend has perfect pitch. He owns a guitar, but he never wanted to learn it. Never actually sat down and learned it.
Just be chasing that tuning all the time.
Yeah.
Something's not quite right.
Well, yeah. He tunes his guitar perfectly, but he doesn't use a tuner. So it's really cool. When you go over. Yeah.
It's where you start compensating.
I don't have perfect pitch.
I was like, dude, did you know this? You have perfect pitch? He goes, what's that? I'm like, okay.
You didn't know. Wow.
Tell
I
them.
have a weird good ear for picking out keys,
Yeah.
but I almost
Yeah,
but
it's
not quite,
reference.
except I'll always pick out the fifth.
The
So if
fifth.
you're playing a song in C, I'll say, that's in G. And I'll start playing, I'll always look for bass lines first, and I'll say, gosh, it's almost right, but not quite. It's harmonic, but, and I'll go, okay, it's in C. I just always go to the fifth of whatever key
perfect.
it is.
That's the perfect. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
Perfect
Yeah.
fifth.
True
Perfect fourth.
temperament.
They got
Nightmare stuff.
Sympathetic harmonies.
Yeah, it's always been that way too since I was a kid.
Still not perfect.
Yeah, I have very good relative pitch, but played violin for over 20 years. So
that's all I have, because that's
that.
where we got our ear learning, right? Picking guitar out from a tape or a record, you just pick that up. Perfect.
The thing I find with guitar is I'm always chasing pitch on a bass string.
Yeah.
Always, while you're sitting there messing around, always like,
Oh yeah, I know I'm going to blow my strings. Yeah. Keep tuning them up. They're not going down anymore. I'm just tuning them up. Come downstairs, got to tune it up. I know I'm going to blow one soon. They're getting there.
Oh no, I stay in. I use a tuner always just to get started.
I have a tuner on my board, so
but always I always find the bass string.
It's the joy of modern living
always
is
not in tune.
The joy of modern living is that we have tuners everywhere.
Yeah, I never had one until recently. Some idiot stole something from somebody, and he brought it here for whatever reason. Yeah. Hey, do you want this? I think this is like what did he say it was? Oh, a tattoo machine. I'm like, what are you doing? It's not. It's a pedal, a guitar pedal. He goes, oh, well, you can have it, and then he left. My daughter has some weird friends. Let's just say.
If we didn't, if we were practicing, we had a keyboard player. We'd tune to the piano, right? But
yeah, I always use my ear.
If you were just home alone playing
on the radio, or
you would listen to a song you knew that on the radio that that's an A, and I can tune that A string and go from there.
Once I got the E for me, I had an A tuning fork in my guitar case for years. Hit that.
I use the radio a lot.
Put it in my ear, and then I tune it.
Yeah, but that's a thing too, Laws. When you're talking, playing along with LPs and things like that,
and a lot of them were out of tune.
Yeah, you actually tune to the record.
Yeah, I tune the record. My sister had,
and again from playing violin for so long, it was always you were tuning to the orchestra.
Yeah. It's whether you hear that drone.
But it's whatever instrument can't be tuned. You tune to
the theremin.
The piano.
Yeah, I just have a tuner on my phone now that works, or in my Podgo, or wherever I'm at has something built in as a tuner.
If I need it, I'll use the one on my phone for my acoustic.
Yeah. I actually have one on my acoustic. It's built in.
Oh yeah. My acoustic is one of those just all wood unplug.
Most of mine are, but my better ones, the ones I play if I'm recording or anything, have built-in little built-in tuner to them. So I'm amazed how spot on they are. Also,
fork and 64.
Yeah, laughing at it. Yeah. Because I opened up my piano stool a month or two ago, and sitting on top of all the jazz standard books and all the rest of it, sitting in there, an A440 tuning fork.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Oh
cool.
Yeah. I still remember that fork because you had to put it really close to your ear to hear it.
No, you put the base of it onto the.
You can put it on a table, but
resonates the whole table.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was designed for, to
works like a
place that little ball on the end of onto your violin or whatever you're tuning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then you tune the strings to each other. So in
Yeah,
fourths.
that's
When you play them
that's how
together,
I
you
got
can
my
hear
reference
the
right?
beating.
Tuning
Yeah.
fourths and fifths.
Yeah, fifths are easy. Fourths are
Yeah.
with an unfretted instrument more interesting.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever played one of those.
Mm.
Yeah, no, didn't play with a bow, no violins.
This thing I've been getting on my Facebook page lately, ads for this a bow for
Really?
your guitar, but it's like
Oh, the little Ebo, the little.
this big.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding
It's an
me?
actual bow, or
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an actual
Sort
bow,
of.
but it's
It's
about
got
the
a
size.
resin edge, and
It's
it works apparently.
it's
I have an Ebo.
smaller.
They're kind of fun.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
the
They're hard to
battery
use.
powered one. Yeah.
yeah, they are.
They're
Yeah.
hard to.
Greg has one. He's brought it over a few times. I played
Yeah.
with it. It's fun.
If you were recording, it'd be great.
What
'cause you
he's
could go
talking about is an actual stick.
actual little bow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
Oh,
run it
yeah.
along the strings.
It's the only thing I don't like. My upright bass has a flat neck. It doesn't have the curved neck.
Guitar Samurai Guitarist displayed 2 times.
Oh, I've heard
Yeah,
of him.
he played with it a couple times. He made a little song with one. He actually liked it.
Analog Ebo, yeah.
Mm-hmm. An
Yeah.
analog
So-
Ebo.
You were saying with your upright, you've got a flat neck on a.
It's got a
upright
flat
bass?
profile neck, so you really can't use
Wow.
a bow on it because it doesn't have the.
Oh,
That's odd. So
Well, it was a local maker,
okay.
and
So it
I
was
think there
designed.
I think there was a
designed
few
just
of
to
them
be-
that made it. It's like a.
on a violin.
I forget what it like a 39-inch bass scale, so it's not that much
Mhm.
longer than a regular bass. It looks like it is, but when you play it, it doesn't have the curvature to it. So
Okay.
Huh.
Because the only
And,
ones I've seen like that I've seen some that have been. They've still got some radius on them, but then have a chamfer cut for the high
Oh.
string.
oh, okay.
So it's almost curved and then goes all of a sudden.
Oh,
Just
how
has
interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Like a compound radius.
yeah.
Oh, it's radiused, but it's like they've faceted one edge under the top string. I
Yeah.
don't know why anybody would ever do it, but
7, 8. Ebos were out since then. Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, mine's really mine's pretty ancient. It's really, I don't know. I haven't seen it. Come to think of it, for who knows what I did with it. But yeah, I just kind of never used it, and I got a new pedal that kind of does that. It's a I don't know where it's at, so I don't remember what it's called. It's made by Electro Harmonics, but it's a compressor, and it just compresses so much it gives you a violin quality to your guitar. So, which is something I wanted for some tunes. And I did a Christmas tune last year, and I did that, but I had to run everything through my DAW and then back out to a power amp, and I had to use the compressor in the DAW because it was like 50-to-1 compression or something, and then back it out so the sound just squeaks through. So
yeah,
kind of been delayed because regular compressor pedals don't do it that much. So
the ratio is not going to get up there.
yeah, but then this new one has a huge ratio to it. So
Mm.
I haven't had it 3 months, haven't plugged it in. Got to get with it.
Just get a Peterson.
78,
Yeah.
going back that far. So maybe mine's not that new.
Huh.
I would have guessed 1990 or something like that. But
78. Wow.
that's interesting.
Very.
What's the time over there now, guys?
12.
30.
You're 3:30. So I'm 12:30. Yeah, I'm ready to to step out. So what time is it for you, Mark? You're
Just
7:30?
coming up 7:30 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just about ready to go and eat something.
Get
Yeah.
yourself a bite. Yeah. Please
Mm.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very nice chat. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. Good fun.
Lots of good folks that came in.
Yeah.
I missed the first
Well,
hour or so I'm going to have to go back and watch. I hope Hippie gets better.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. He's probably needed some rest.
Mm-hmm.
Playing games, kicking teenager butt all night.
yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
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 All right. Hey, Laurie. Terrible timing.
Hey, Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah. Night, Lori.
Night,
Yeah.
Laurie.
Yeah, it's the beard session.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm
no
still
problem.
I'm still working on that one song.
Okay.
I'm actually working on a total of 3, 1 for you and 2 for me, I think. That I'm trying to work out, trying to come up with something. So
No problems at all.
Simon, you have a good Monday.
And Laurie, take care, Seth.
We'll
John,
see you all later.
Everyone else out there.
Yep.
Doc,
Night.
you all take care. Okay, folks. See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.